Chapter 3061. Volume 1, Chapter 8. Bottomless Ruins. Countless rays of black light shone in the void as boundless primal energy poured down like a torrent, corroding everything. Roar, roar, roar! Countless terrifying roars sounded out as countless terrifying monsters were alarmed by this aura and gave off loud roars. These monsters were extremely terrifying and gave off terrifying auras. They were definitely existences that could not be offended. However, facing the surging primal chaos aura, they felt an intense sense of fear, and some of the monsters turned and ran. Some of them could not react in time, and their bodies were drowned by the flood-like primal energy as boundless primal energy surged into their bodies. Arg! Ear-piercing cries sounded out continuously, causing the silent bottomless ruins to become lively. Most of the monsters did not know what was going on, but when they heard the cries of pain, they did not hesitate and immediately fled the area. Even though their bottomless ruins power was terrifying, in the face of this supreme power, it was still very weak. A massive figure appeared in the void. This figure was a ball of flesh with blood-red vertical pupils on its surface. There were also countless tentacles growing out of it, and it gave off a terrifying aura. This was the Chaos God. Back then, it had been chased out by the innate Sun God and had come to the bottomless ruins. Now, out of all the monsters, it was the one that understood the rampaging primal energy the most. Seeing this scene, the Chaos God revealed a shocked expression. At that moment, the primal energy seemed to have discovered the Chaos God. It gathered together and turned into a massive demon snake that savagely bit at the Chaos God. The Chaos God immediately turned and ran. It felt a great sense of danger. This supreme primal energy could destroy it, which meant that it could be killed. What happened in the primal chaos world? As the Chaos God ran, it thought in shock. Its consciousness told it that it had something to do with the person who had killed its godson. Arg! The Chaos God gave off a pained cry. The ferocious demon snake suddenly sped up and bit the Chaos God's body. The Chaos God immediately turned around and started fighting with the demon snake, causing an astonishing aura to spread out. Celestial world. Boom! A massive muffled explosion sounded out as the ground of the celestial world shook and countless rays of black light shot out from the ground. This was the light from the primal Chaos Emperor star. It could actually pierce through the celestial world's barrier and affect the celestial world. It was truly shocking. Immortal chi gathered in the area, and the huge change attracted the attention of countless immortals. Countless immortals instantly arrived at this area, and when they saw the countless black lights on the ground, they all looked shocked. They saw it clearly. This was the light that shot up from the mortal realm. What could have such power? Boom! Immortal energy gathered together, and a huge black star with a crystal shining with dazzling white light appeared in the sky. A wave of supreme primal chaos pressure suddenly descended. It was as if an existence that ruled over all things had descended, leaving no room for resistance. Countless immortals felt their bodies sink, and the vegetation on the ground froze. Countless immortals stared in shock at the huge black star in the sky. This star should be the star that caused the changes in the mortal realm. Right now, it was a projection condensed from immortal energy and not the star itself. Many immortals, who hadn't cared much about this before, saw the huge star appear in the sky and felt the chaotic aura spread out like a flood. They hurriedly rushed over. Immortal energy continued to gather, and the star gave off an even more terrifying aura, causing the celestial world's sky to change color. Countless immortals came here, and there was no lack of extremely terrifying existences. One of them was a burly middle-aged man with a beard. He looked quite confused as he looked at the star in the sky. He knew this star because he was also from the primal chaos world. He was the clan leader of the primal chaos source clan, and also Yao's father. Who could actually make a primal chaos star descend? He was extremely shocked, and his heart was greatly shaken. He didn't know what had happened to the primal chaos world after their clan had left for so long. Also, after so many years, he didn't know if his daughter's soul had recovered. If it had, then there was a chance that his daughter could come back to life. This matter shouldn't have been leaked. If these immortals knew that the primal chaos star had caused such a huge change in the celestial world, it would bring great trouble to the primal chaos world. However, even if he wanted to hide it, he wouldn't be able to because he wasn't the only one in the celestial world. A peerlessly beautiful woman with a gentle aura, wearing a green dress, looked at the star and also looked quite shocked. She was also from the primal chaos world, and Zhao Fu was her legatee. She was the former shaman lord, shaman spirit. After ascending to the celestial world for so many years, shaman spirit's identity had changed greatly. She had joined a celestial world faction and her status was not low. Because of the celestial world's barrier, she rarely received news about the primal chaos world. She had never thought that the primal chaos world's emperor star would cause such a huge commotion in the celestial world. She was also quite curious about what had happened to the primal chaos world and what kind of shocking person had appeared to make a legendary star descend. A rainbow sword light landed here, and a scholarly young man appeared, giving off an intense 10,000 sword intent. From the aura he gave off, it was quite obvious that he was the first sword master who had created the city of 10,000 swords and left behind the 10,000 sword heart training. Before, he did not care much about these things, but sensing the aura that he was most familiar with, he felt quite shocked and immediately flew over. Looking at the massive star in the sky, it was indeed the primal chaos world's star, and it was a star that no one had ever awakened before. Who was this person? The first sword master was quite curious. To be able to make such a star descend and cause such a huge commotion in the celestial world, the first sword master felt quite impressed. Back then, he had been young and ignorant, and he had wanted to awaken this chaos star that no one had ever obtained before. However, only after trying did he find out how difficult it was. In the end, he could only give up. However, after so many years, someone had actually done it, and the first sword master could not help but feel impressed. It was almost impossible for someone with such a star to die, and perhaps he would see that person again in the celestial world in the future. The first sword master gave a trace of a smile. Also, what was the city of 10,000 swords like now? What about the legacy he had left behind? Had anyone properly inherited his 10,000 sword intent? He hoped that the current master of 10,000 swords would not embarrass himself too much. Chapter 3062. Book 1, Chapter 9. Back at the Primal Chaos World. The Primal Chaos Star was high up in the sky, and it gave off countless rays of black light and a supreme aura. Shimin Fenghua and the other women stared at it in shock, and their hearts were greatly shaken. In their hearts, Zhao Fu was an extremely despicable and shameless fellow who used all sorts of methods to obtain them, and he was still very weak. However, this person in their hearts had become a supreme existence in the primal chaos world, and no one in the entire primal chaos world could compare to him. In front of him, they seemed incredibly lowly. It was like a noble celestial and a lowly mortal. Now, facing Zhao Fu, they did not know what to do. That despicable appearance seemed to have been wiped away, and it was replaced by a supreme image. It was as if Zhao Fu casually said something, they would do it. This was a feeling from their bloodlines and souls. The Sun Goddess and Moon Immortal had jokingly guessed that Zhao Fu's ultimate goal was the primal chaos world's supreme emperor star. They had never thought that Zhao Fu would actually succeed. Even though they had existed for countless years, they were incredibly shocked by this scene. Even the innate Sun God and innate Moon Immortal had not been able to do this. Zhao Fu's image in their minds was not very good, and he had always seemed weak and lecherous. Now, the feeling he gave them had greatly changed, and they could not look at Zhao Fu the same way they used to. I never thought that he would become the primal chaos world's supreme ruler. I never thought that he would have such shocking potential. I thought that him becoming the new sun god was already very amazing, but I underestimated him. That guy's goal has always been the primal chaos star, and he hid it from us for so long. If we hadn't personally seen the primal chaos star descend, we wouldn't have known. I don't understand why he didn't tell us. Did he never trust us from the start? Don't overthink things. This is such an important matter, and he must have his reasons for not telling us. Perhaps if we had known, things wouldn't have gone so smoothly. Now that he has become the primal chaos world's supreme ruler, I can relax. In the past, I was always worried that he would leave this world, but now he is a person of this world. I think the same. Also, I feel that the aura he gives off is much closer to ours. I feel like he has truly become a person of the primal chaos world. Half of his body is the primal chaos world's source laws, and the other half is another world. He is half a person of the primal chaos. In that case, my intuition is not wrong. I wonder if this fellow is hiding anything from us. We'll ask him after everything is over. Even though he has awakened a chaos star, there are still many mysteries surrounding him. A terrifying star power was released, interrupting the discussion of the women. Chaos God and Chaos Star. The Chaos Star in the sky, in Chaos World's Earth Chaos Star 1 Chaos. This star was the same as the Chaos Star. Its surface was pitch black, and there was a rhombus-shaped crystal in its center that emitted a resplendent white light. However, its constitution was much smaller. The star quickly descended from the sky and landed on Zhao Fu's head, giving off a massive power that covered Zhao Fu's body. Following this, the star slowly descended and entered Zhao Fu's body. An ancient, supreme, and chaotic power exploded out from Zhao Fu's body, causing the surrounding space to condense as if it had become corporeal. Now that Zhao Fu had awakened a chaos star, he started to receive its baptism and fuse with it. Chaos stars were the most powerful stars in the primal chaos world, and the power they contained was extremely terrifying. They were even more powerful than Zhao Fu's Emperor Star, and they would be of great help to Zhao Fu. The small star floated within Zhao Fu's body, giving off the massive Chaos Star's power. Zhao Fu's constitution, bloodline, and power were quickly evolving. Zhao Fu's body and the surrounding space started to turn into particles, gradually disappearing into nothingness, and the aura he gave off was incredibly terrifying. In the end, Zhao Fu and the surrounding space disappeared, leaving behind only the black star. Seeing this scene, the women felt quite startled. Boom! An explosion sounded out as the small star gave off countless rays of black light, and countless particles once again gathered, condensing into Zhao Fu's appearance. However, Zhao Fu's appearance had greatly changed. His black hair had become very long, and it almost reached the ground. His eyes had become gray-slitted pupils, and 2 fangs grew out of his mouth. There was also an egg-sized chaos star on his forehead. His body gave off a supreme chaos aura as if he was the owner of the entire primal chaos world, and everything in the world had to submit at his feet. Zhao Fu's current appearance was that of a chaos star. In this form, he could unleash the chaos star's full power. This was similar to the 10,000 God body, but it was now called the Chaos Body. Boom! The moment Zhao Fu completed his transformation, a massive explosion sounded out, and the beings in the primal chaos world felt that supreme might that made them submit gradually disappear. Everything in the world started to recover. Countless flowers, grass, and trees once again looked towards the sky, no longer drooping. The insects on the ground started to cry, the birds flapped their wings and flew into the air, and the people and beasts kneeling on the ground stood up again. Only now could the countless beings raise their heads and look at the chaos star in the sky. If it wasn't for the power disappearing, they wouldn't even have the right to see the chaos star. After all, this was the supreme star of the primal chaos world, and it reigned above all things in the world. The experts looked at the chaos star with excited expressions, and they all smiled. Ha ha ha, I never thought that I would be able to see the chaos star descend in my lifetime. This is the first time in history. Ha ha, that's right. I haven't been this happy in a long time. No one has ever done something like this, and today, someone has done it. This is the most important moment in the history of the primal chaos world. Yes, the descent of the chaos star is extremely important to the beings of our primal chaos. Only those who possess the chaos star are worthy of becoming the true children of primal chaos. In the past, although the Khanate Sun God, Khanate Moon Immortal, Origin Child, and Evil Immortal were terrifying, they were still a bit weaker than the Chaos Star. Isn't it obvious? Although I don't know this person's true identity, he gathered the identities of the Evil Immortal, Primordial Dragon Clan, 10,000 Swords Inheritor, Witch Clan, Khanate Sun God, Khanate Moon Immortal, and Origin Race, to awaken the Chaos Star. Chapter 3063. Book 1, Chapter 10. Awakening a Chaos Star is truly difficult. No wonder so many geniuses failed. Now, he's the only one who can do it. The descent of a Chaos Star signifies a new beginning for our Chaos world. This is the beginning of our glory. Haha, that's right. For such a shocking Chaos Star to descend, our Chaos world will definitely rise to glory. Dragon Race. The dignified old man let out a long sigh. He's finally awakened a Chaos Star. We made the right choice. He's a genius the Chaos world hasn't seen in countless years. We made the right choice, but there are still many unknowns. His attitude towards us primordial dragons isn't something we can change. The violet-haired old man smiled. He's the young master of the primordial dragons. That won't change. Now that a Chaos Star has descended, we're going to benefit greatly. The blue-robed old man chuckled. There's no need for us to think too much about it. I've interacted with him before. Although he hid some things from us, he's not an evil person. He shouldn't be a threat to us. Yes, now that he's become a primordial chaos child, we have no other choice. It's too late. We might as well trust him. The dignified old man nodded. That's all we can do for now. This is the most important moment for our primordial dragons. City of 10,000 Swords. No wonder they chose someone who doesn't train in the Tao of the Sword to become the successor. Now I understand why. Yes, perhaps 10,000 Swords predicted today's situation. We never expected him to have such accomplishments. It's truly amazing. It's a pity that he only obtained our legacy. He didn't have much contact with our city of 10,000 Swords. Otherwise, given the amount of karmic luck he possesses, we would have been able to obtain great fortune. That's indeed a pity. If we had known, we would have done everything we could to keep him here. We would have even given him the position of City Lord. It's too late to say all that now. Still, it's a blessing that the 10,000 Swords legacy has such a powerful successor. In the future, he might ascend to the immortal plane. I wonder if he'll be able to meet the founder of the city of 10,000 Swords. He'll probably be very happy to have such a successor. Which race? Oldo laughed heartily. This is the most important moment for our witch tribe. It's also the moment of our witch tribe's revival. I don't believe that our witch tribe will decline with Chaos Star around. The middle-aged man smiled and said, Yes, we don't have to worry about the future of the witch tribe for a long time. The young man smiled and said, Our witch tribe will welcome a revival, not a decline. I can feel the changes in our bloodline now. The woman in the red dress said with a chuckle, I can sense it too. He's the son of our sorcerer tribe, and he's also one of the 7 clones. Our sorcerer tribe will be greatly affected. Old O said, Yes, we will benefit greatly from this alone. We must handle our relationship with him well in the future. He is the future of the witch tribe. The woman in the red dress smiled and said, We naturally know this. We will satisfy all of his requests. If he can give birth to our witch tribe's bloodline, that would be the best. This might be very difficult. He's already the child of primordial chaos, and his bloodline is the most supreme bloodline in the entire primordial chaos world. The woman in the red dress smiled and said, I know it's very difficult, but if there's one, it'll be a great benefit to our witch tribe. Old O smiled and nodded. He also likes women. We'll go back and carefully choose one for him. Blood-long gate. Many experts stared at the constellation in the sky as their hearts were filled with shock. They could feel that the constellation was actually affecting them. But this was the Chaos Star, the supreme star in the primordial chaos world. How could it affect them? Moreover, this was not an ordinary effect, and it seemed to be related to the Chaos Star. It was impossible for the people of the Blood-long Gate to have any relationship with the Chaos Star. Suddenly, they thought of a person. He had obtained the power of 8 gates, and had the qualifications to become the leader of the Blood-long Gate. I heard that person has many identities. Could he be the one who came to our blood sect? I heard that he often wears a cloak in the dragon tribe, and he likes beauties. I feel that it should be him. Otherwise, I can't think of any relationship between the people of the Blood-long Gate and the Chaos Star. I think it's him. He's the only possible person. Plus, his identity is very mysterious. This is shocking. I didn't think that he would cause so many things after leaving the Blood-long Gate. In the end, he even awakened the Chaos Star and became the Son of Chaos. We thought that he was very scary. I didn't expect to underestimate his potential. Him becoming the Son of Chaos means a lot to the Blood-long Gate. In the future, our Blood-long Gate might become even more powerful. That guy left for so long and didn't come back to see us. Would he be angry at us? We forcefully took him before. I don't think so. He doesn't care about this. Awakening the Chaos Star is such a difficult thing. Where would he have the time to come back? Yes, we should be more considerate of him. After this is over, we can go find him. Eastern Alliance. Everyone looked at the star in the sky in shock. They didn't expect today's result. Now they were a little scared. Fortunately, the descendant of the evil immortal took the initiative to make peace with the Eastern Alliance. Otherwise, the consequences would be 100 times worse than they had imagined. Because he was not only the descendant of the evil immortal, but also the son of origin. Innate sun god, innate moon immortal, and most importantly, he had become the son of chaos. With this terrifying identity, the Eastern Alliance would be destroyed. It would be a very simple thing. Other than despair, they didn't have any power to resist. Dongfang Yu looked at the black star in the sky and thought about what happened with Zhao Fu. Her expression was very complicated. She didn't know what to do. Dongfang Yu was not angry about Zhao Fu's lies. She was very grateful to Zhao Fu for resolving the conflict between the Eastern Alliance and the evil immortal. Sometimes, Dongfang Yu wanted to go find Zhao Fu, but she was worried that Zhao Fu wouldn't like her. After all, he had too many women around him. Although she had become beautiful, Dongfang Yu still felt inferior. Especially now that Zhao Fu had awakened the Chaos Star, she felt that she was not worthy of Zhao Fu. Thinking about this, Dongfang Yu's eyes turned red. Zhao Fu was the first man she liked. She would do anything for him. Do Hui Shiyue comforted her. Chapter 3064. Book 1, Chapter 11. Everyone related to Zhao Fu felt their bodies go through changes, and they immediately thought of Zhao Fu. They looked at the black star in the sky and felt as if they were looking at Zhao Fu. Now they felt incredibly excited. The Zhao Fu they knew had awakened the outer world's supreme star. Heaven awakened world. As the outer world returned to normal, the black light disappeared, and the heaven awakened world gradually returned to normal. However, countless experts were still looking at the horizon with a solemn expression. An old man with a ruddy face and a long beard asked, "Have you found out what happened?" The fair-skinned young man replied, "We've already investigated. It was the descent of the outer world's supreme star that caused such a massive ripple." The long-bearded elder said in shock, I've heard of the legend of this supreme star, but I never thought that someone would actually be able to do it. That person is simply too terrifying." The fair-skinned young man answered, He has 7 known identities. They are the evil immortal, the child of origin, the desolate ancient dragon race's young master, the witch race's young master, the million-sword inheritor, the innate sun god, and the innate moon immortal." The long-bearded elder looked quite shocked. "You're saying that this world-shocking genius is actually the same person?" The fair-skinned young man nodded. They're all the same person, and they might have unknown identities." The long-bearded elder's expression was quite unsightly. The outer world's shocking changes were all caused by a single person, and he fused with so much supreme power. No wonder he was able to awaken the outer world's supreme star. The fair-skinned young man said, "Now that he has awakened a chaos star, he has become the outer world's supreme existence, and there are even rumors that he will become the outer world's master." The fair-skinned young man said seriously, "Our heaven-awakened world might be facing our greatest enemy, and the heaven-awakened world is facing our greatest crisis." The fair-skinned young man thought of something and said, "Perhaps there's someone in the heaven-awakened world who can contend against him." The long-bearded elder did not want to know who it was and said, "That person has already obtained the Emperor Stars of the Heaven-Awakened World's 7 great races and is called the Heaven-Awakened Child. If he awakens one, he will have 8 Supreme Emperor Stars. I think we can indeed resist him." "I can't either. Our Heaven-Enlightening World's 8 great clans' Supreme Emperor Star will lose to a Supreme Star from another world." The fair-skinned young man said curiously, "That heaven-awakened son is also very mysterious. I don't know who he is, and he disappeared for a long time. I wonder where he is now." The children of primordial chaos have the paramount star of primordial chaos. In name, they can lead the entire chaos world. We, the children of the Heaven Awakened, have the paramount stars of the 8 races. In name, we can lead the 8 races. I've already predicted that the outer world and heaven-awakened world will start a world-destroying war under the leadership of those 2 people. When that time comes, no one will be able to stay out of it." The fair-skinned young man said, "I think the most important thing to do is to search for the heaven-awakened sun and not pay too much attention to the primal chaos world." The long-bearded man nodded. "However, this matter isn't easy to solve. We still haven't come into contact with the heaven-awakened child." The fair-skinned youth said, "I will do my best to do this." The alchemy world. The alchemy world's ripples had calmed down. Because the primordial chaos attribute countered the alchemy world's metal attribute, the alchemy world was in the worst state. Some mountains had collapsed, and the tops of some peaks had shattered. Many trees had either fallen or only had half of their trunks left, and the ground was filled with craters. There were also some animal corpses everywhere. This scene was as if a catastrophe had passed. The world had been completely destroyed, and a terrifying aura covered the surroundings. Countless people from the alchemy world looked wretchedly in the direction of the outer world. They found that the outer world was their greatest enemy, and it was many times more dangerous than the heaven-awakened world. Back then, even though the heaven-awakened world had affected the alchemy world, it had not caused as much damage to the outer world. "How is the investigation going? Has the outer world gone mad to cause so much damage to our alchemy world? The outer world's paramount star has descended. Only something like that could cause so much damage to our alchemy world. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been affected at all. Fortunately, things have calmed down, or else our alchemy world's losses would have been even greater. Now that things have concluded, I can relax. I don't have to worry about anything else. I think you've all overlooked something. The truly terrifying thing isn't the Chaos Star but the person who awakened it. Now, he has become the supreme existence of the outer world. I heard that no one has ever awakened a Chaos Star before, and anyone who awakens it will become the Lord of the outer world. Even though he can't be said to be the Lord of the outer world, he is in name. If the outer world is unified under his leadership, just thinking about it is terrifying. That's right. If that's the case, the surrounding worlds will be in danger. Have you forgotten that the Heaven Awakened world has a Heaven Awakened son? That person is incredibly powerful and already has 7 races Emperor stars. He might be able to contend against that Chaos star. The truly dangerous ones are the Alchemy world and the Card world. The Alchemy world is the most dangerous because Chaos power counters our Alchemy power. I think we need to change our focus. We should no longer focus on the Heaven Awakened world, but on the outer world. Right now, they are our greatest enemies. That's all we can do for now. However, why did the outer world and Heaven Awakened world give birth to 2 such monstrous people? Why doesn't our Alchemy world have such people? I also feel that our Alchemy world's younger generation doesn't even have the right to compare to those 2 people. Even though those words are unpleasant to hear, they're not wrong. I don't know why either, but let's put these things aside for now and deal with the outer world's matters first. The various experts started to recover the affected region's alchemy power, allowing those regions to regain their vitality. They also started to treat those who were injured, and the battle against the Heaven Awakened world slowed down. Right now, the Alchemy world did not want to do anything other than quietly recover for a period of time. The Heaven Awakened world did not want to start a war at a time like this, and it also wanted to stay in peace for a period of time. At the very least, it would wait for this matter to pass before doing anything else. Within the Card world, cards were floating in the air. Each card had different pictures imprinted on it. There were mountains, trees, flowers, birds, and beasts. These cards gave off light before turning back into mountains, trees, flowers, grass, birds, and beasts. Chapter 3065. Book 1, Chapter 12. All of the cards had been affected by the Chaos Star's power and had been forcibly turned into cards. The Chaos Star was a combination of the Card world and the Chaos world's power. However, Chaos power belonged to the outside world, and the people of the Card world rejected this attribute, while the Chaos Star rejected the Card world. The 2 were enemies, and it was not just the flowers, grass, birds, and beasts that had been affected. Many people had also been affected, but they had not been turned into cards. It could be said that the Chaos world had created a dangerous aura in the Card world, and the regions that had been affected the most by the Chaos Star were called Chaos lands. The Card world calmed down, and the experts looked at the horizon with lingering fear. They were the second world that had been greatly affected. Even though the Heaven Awakened world was the closest to the Chaos world, it had been affected the least. This was most likely because of Zhao Fu, as half of Zhao Fu belonged to the Heaven Awakened world. The people from the various large factions gathered together and started to discuss this matter, as the Chaos world posed a great threat to the Card world. The people who had come had incredibly high statuses. At a long table, a beautiful golden-haired woman said, "I'm sure you all know about this matter. The Chaos Star of the Chaos world has descended, and our Card world is facing our greatest enemy." A sinister-looking young man said, "If we knew who he was, we would have killed him at all costs. Now that he has the protection of the Chaos Supreme Star, this is almost impossible." An elderly man said, "What a joke. Do you know that even the Chaos world's experts are incredibly shocked? No one would have thought that so many geniuses were actually the same person." A red-haired woman with a bewitching figure said, "This matter has shaken the 4 great worlds, and no one expected it to be like this. Now we need to prepare for the worst." The ordinary-looking young man asked, "What do you mean by the worst?" The red-haired woman said seriously, "He will become the ruler of the Chaos world and unify the entire Chaos world. Facing such a world, it is possible that our world will be destroyed." The elderly man said seriously, "The Chaos world will become the most powerful world in the vicinity. Facing such a world, our world will be like a plate of loose sand and will most likely perish." The ordinary-looking youth said, It would be great if our card world also gave birth to such a person. He would unify all the forces in the card world. At that time, who would be able to stop him? The golden-haired woman chuckled and said, I also want to, but it's almost impossible. You know the younger generation of our card world. We shouldn't have any illusions. The elderly man said, It's not just the outer world. That heaven-awakened child in the heaven-awakened world already has 7 races emperor stars. If he awakens the 8th star, he will not be any weaker than the chaos star. When that time comes, we might have to face 2 terrifying worlds. The sinister young man said, If these 2 unified forces attack, it will be almost impossible for our card world to resist. I think maybe we can contact the people from the alchemy world. The golden-haired woman nodded. Right now we have a common enemy, a common danger, and a common situation. I'm sure they'll be happy to ally with us to resist the heaven-awakened world and the primal chaos world. The sinkhole. Peace returned to this place. To be more precise, it became dead silent. The various terrifying monsters that had been hiding in the void also fled far away and did not return. The Chaos God was in the worst state. Its body was covered with wounds as it lay on the ground, looking quite fearful. The demon snake formed from the primal chaos aura had chased after it and tried to bite it, but its undying power had no effect on the demon snake. If it was not for the ripples calming down, it might have been killed by the demon snake. It understood why the demon snake had chased after it. Firstly, it had great enmity with the innate sun god, and the one who had awakened the chaos star was a sun god. Secondly, it was an exiled creature and was rejected by the outer world. The chaos god could only remember this enmity for now, and it did not dare to go back. Facing such a terrifying chaos star, even the chaos god was afraid. Back then, the Chaos God had not been this afraid even when facing the 8 innate sun gods. After all, the 8 innate sun gods did not have the ability to kill it. The monsters that fled in all directions also spread the news far and wide. It even attracted the attention of some unknown existences in the sinkhole. They were quite shocked that such a star had descended. If it had happened in the celestial world, the ripples would have been even greater, enough to shake the entire celestial world. In the boundless celestial world, which was made up of high-level immortal energy, there were very few stars of this level. The potential of such a star could be said to be limitless. If there were no accidents, it would become an existence on the same level as them. Hence, they were quite concerned about this matter. A voice sounded in the void, Should we go and see what interesting thing was born? Another voice sounded in the void, Not interested. That place is not simple. The voice asked curiously, Really? What's not simple about it? The voice sounded in the void, You will know when you go. But I have to warn you first. Don't throw your life away. I will not go and save you. The voice sounded in the void, Is that place really that dangerous? If it wasn't for this, I would not have known of its existence. The voice sounded in the void, Think about it. If it was an ordinary place, how could it give birth to such a star? The existence in the void thought for a moment, That's true. An ordinary place cannot give birth to a star of that level. The voice sounded in the void, Let me also tell you that it won't be so simple. Something big will happen in the future. The voice sounded in the void, Looks like you know something. Hurry up and tell me. The voice sounded in the void, I only vaguely know something. I'm not too sure about the specifics. I won't tell you in case you cause trouble. The voice sounded in the void, You're always like this. You always like to keep me in suspense. I hate you. I won't bother with you anymore. The voice said helplessly, All right. I can reveal some information to you. This matter is related to the celestial world and not the mortal world. The voice sounded unsatisfied, That's all? The voice replied, Yes, I'm not too sure about the rest. Also, that place is getting more and more dangerous. Remember not to go there. The voice sounded in the void, All right. I understand. Chapter 3066. Volume 1, Chapter 13. Immortal World. The black star in the sky was still there, emitting a vast aura. This place was different from other places because the chaos star here was a projection. If the chaos star didn't disappear, the chaos star here wouldn't disappear either. Many experts were shocked to see this chaos star. There's actually a star of this level in the mortal world. This hasn't happened in the past tens of thousands of years. This is the first time I've seen it with my own eyes. I wonder which world it is. It feels like the power of a great world has been poured into his body. Otherwise, the star wouldn't be able to affect the immortal world. I think we'll be able to see this person soon. The immortal world will have another shocking genius. I wonder what kind of person he is. My force will welcome him at any time. Now that I'm in the immortal world, I can't determine his location. If he's in the mortal world, I might be able to find him and use a heaven-defying technique to snatch his shocking fortune. Don't be too greedy. If you do that, you might not even be able to endure the backlash from this planet. If you fail and end up provoking someone with limitless potential, you might die because of that and waste 10,000 years of cultivation. The immortal world and the mortal world are separated by a world barrier. It also separates the mortal planet from the immortal planet. Mortals can become immortals and ascend to the immortal world. The same goes for the mortal planet. After that person becomes an immortal, the mortal planet will also advance to become an immortal planet. I wonder what kind of changes will happen. Now that you mention it, I'm very curious. I know most of the famous stars in the immortal world, but I've never seen this star before. This should be the first time it's appeared. If he comes to the immortal world and this star becomes an immortal planet, there will definitely be a huge change. I think he might be able to squeeze into the immortal star ranking. The immortal star ranking records every star that alarmed the immortal world. Every star is a supreme star in the world. Judging from the waves caused by this star, it shouldn't be a problem for him to enter the immortal star ranking. It doesn't matter if he can enter the immortal star ranking. As long as he becomes an immortal and this star becomes an immortal planet, the immortal world will also have this star law. In the future, other people might awaken such a star. Yes, this type of star belongs to the chaos star category. It has the potential to become the supreme star of the chaos element. At that time, those who cultivate the chaos element will regard this star as their highest goal. It is also the proof that they are familiar with the chaos element. You guys care about the star. I'm more curious about this person. To awaken such a star, I'm more curious about this person. I need to be of the immortal. Are you trying to say that a genius from the immortal world descended to the mortal world to gain experience and awaken such a star in the mortal world? Immortal world must have had a immortal mortal star. Immortal star. Immortal. Immortal star. I don't think it's possible that it's someone from the immortal world. Although the immortal world has an innate advantage, it's very difficult to obtain the recognition of the world. Moreover, it's very difficult for people from the mortal star immortal world to awaken, because the power of the immortal world awakens the immortal star. Immortal Dowsect. Many experts looked at the resplendent black star in the sky in shock. This star gives me a faint sense of familiarity. I've never seen this star before, but the aura it exudes feels like I've seen it somewhere before, Chen Feng said. Its aura is familiar. It's someone from the immortal world. The only person you've seen in the immortal world is that person. Is it really him? Was this star the product of him fusing all the stars together? Or did he awaken a star from another world? I sensed his emperor star before. Its aura is the same as now. But no matter what, if he really awakened such a star, it means we've underestimated him. Haven't we been sending people down to the immortal world to search for him? Why haven't we found anything yet? I received news that they were disturbed by an unknown power. They didn't get any information. Most of them have retreated. Only some people from the half-immortal world are searching. This person's identity is becoming more and more complicated. If possible, I want to personally search for him. If I can find him, I'll do everything I can to bring him back. Yes, now that this star has appeared, many people in the immortal world know of his existence. However, they don't know anything else about him. We can't let others get to him first. I know. If our immortal Tao sect can have him, we'll welcome a golden age. We won't have to worry about weakening. Although the immortal Tao sect has many geniuses, they are all inferior to him. I don't even want to compare myself to him. Haha, I have high hopes for him. I feel that he will become the #1 genius in the immortal world. I'm confident in this. You're too confident. Not to mention the #1 genius, I'd be very happy if he could enter the top 3. After all, some terrifying existences are not any weaker than him. I know how terrifying those existences are, but I'm still confident. Those existences are invincible from the moment they were born. For a mortal to have such accomplishments, his potential is far greater than those existences. That's why I'm confident. Now that you mention it, his potential is indeed very great. It's very difficult to find someone who can compare to him in the immortal world. If you weren't sure that he was immortal, I would have suspected that he was an existence that descended into the mortal world. Okay, I'm going to leave. If there's any news, I'll let you know immediately. The world of the primal chaos world once again changed. It gave off a powerful aura and countless amounts of fate gathered in the sky. At this moment, the countless creatures in the primal chaos world, whether they were humans, beasts, birds, or insects, all felt their blood heat up. They couldn't help but become excited. Countless amounts of fate and power of the world gathered in the sky, causing the sky to give off a powerful pressure. This pressure was not like before, which made all living things submit. Instead, it was a gentle pressure. Boom! A loud explosion rang out as the Chaos Star once again shot out countless rays of black light. A huge, black halo descended, bringing with it a vast amount of primal chaos power. All living things in the world did not feel fear. Instead, they became even more excited. The blood in their bodies became even hotter because this was a blessing. As the supreme star of the primal chaos world, it affected the entire primal chaos world. Its birth was beneficial to all living things in the world. For example, this chaos star's blessing was beneficial to all living things in the primal chaos world. The huge, black halo descended and turned into a black wave of light that spread out, quickly covering the entire primal chaos world. Chapter 3067. Book 1, Chapter 14. Chaos. Countless creatures' bodies trembled as a wave of primal chaos source energy flowed into their bodies, causing their bodies to start to evolve. Some people with weaker physiques were strengthened, some people with injuries were quickly healed, and some people with weaker physiques were also quickly strengthened. The trees became taller, the grass became more lush, the flowers became more beautiful, and the streams became clearer. Sensing the changes in their bodies, countless people looked delighted. Back when Zhao Fu had awakened his race's supreme emperor star, he had only been able to affect a single race, which was already quite incredible. Now that this star was able to affect all creatures in the outer world, it was even more shocking. Only a world's supreme emperor star could become so powerful, it was impossible for other stars to do so. Moreover, the help and improvements they received were not just a little bit, which was why they were so delighted. They had not done anything at all, and just the creatures in the outer world were able to receive such benefits, making others feel quite envious. Boom! Another massive explosion sounded out as another black halo descended from the sky, giving off a massive aura. Everyone felt quite startled. There was still more, and they immediately became even more excited. The black halo landed on the ground and once again turned into a black wave of light that spread out. In just an instant, it covered the entire outer world, and a wave of primal chaos energy flowed into countless creatures' bodies. At the edges, the heaven-awakened world's people were also affected by the black light, and they did not fare as well. As the black light swept past, not only did their power not increase, but they instead became weaker and felt a formless suppression. Some people even started to get sick and headaches. This caused countless heaven-awakened world's people to cower within their cities, not daring to come out. Starting a world war with the outer world now was simply seeking death. Luckily, the outer world was not in the mood to fight right now. The Qin Empire's cities in the outer world were not affected. Even though they were people from the heaven-awakened world, the person who had awakened the Chaos Star was Zhao Fu. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as a massive black halo giving off a massive aura descended, turning into a black wave of light that spread out. Countless creatures looked quite pleased, and they could clearly feel the chaos energy in their bodies increasing their power. Everyone's joy could not be described with words. Just 3 short blessings had made them feel as if they had cultivated for an extra year. They just wanted more blessings like this so that they would automatically become more powerful. Just thinking about it made them feel incredibly happy. Boom! A massive explosion once again sounded out as the Chaos Star gave off a massive wave of power, splitting the countless traces of fate and power in the sky into streams that flowed in different directions. The experts of the Blood Dragon Gate could only see a river of fate energy flowing towards them. Initially, they had some doubts about whether Zhao Fu was the one who had awakened the Chaos Star. However, when they saw the flowing river, they were certain of Zhao Fu's identity. Dragon Clan, Long Wushui and the rest of the dragon race also saw a river flowing towards them, and they revealed excited expressions. The Wizard Tribe. Countless people cheered happily as they watched a river flow towards them. In the supreme shrine of Extreme Yang, countless people were devoutly kneeling on the ground. There was an indescribable sense of pride in their hearts. The person they believed in was the supreme existence of the primal chaos world. A river flowed towards them. December. Countless people laughed as they watched the river flow towards them. All forces related to Zhao Fu would have a river flowing through them. Boom! The river flowed into each faction, and a massive wave of power flowed into them, causing each faction to shine with all sorts of lights and shocking ripples to spread out. Everyone's bodies trembled as they felt an even greater wave of power flow into their bodies, causing their bodies to go through even greater changes. Powerful auras radiated out from their bodies. Just now they had been cultivating for an entire day. But now they had been cultivating for 10 years. Not only did their power increase, but their constitutions also became stronger. Their fate also became more than 10 times stronger. The Dragon Clan Elder, Wizard Tribe Elder, 10,000 Sword City Elder, and other experts sensed the changes in their power and fate, and they all smiled. With this blessing, their faction's strength had greatly improved, and this did not even take into account the effects of the Chaos Star on them in the future. This caused countless people to look at them with envy. If the Chaos Child was related to their factions and became their young lord, they would also receive great benefit. They felt that their factions were not weaker than the Dragon Clan, so why did the Chaos Child not go to their side? Boom! Another explosion sounded out in the sky as the Chaos Star once again released a massive wave of power, gathering the remaining fate and heaven and earth power, turning them into rays of black light that shot out in different directions. Shimen Fenghua, Ri Ying, Yu Xianzi, and the other women were by Zhao Fu's side, and the rays of black light descended and landed on their bodies, sending massive waves of power into their bodies. Black aura spread out in the surroundings and flowed into their bodies like a flood, causing their constitutions and powers to become even more powerful. Being here with Zhao Fu, they had gone through the transformation and had endured that sort of tribulation, so they had received even more benefit. The black aura in the surroundings was chaos origin energy, and as it flowed into their bodies, not only did it make their bodies more powerful, but it also gave them chaos origin energy, and some origin constitutions. As for those related to Zhao Fu, the rays of black light entered their bodies, quickly increasing their constitutions and powers, and they could not receive the same benefits as Yu Xianzi and the other women. Dongfang Ye and Dongfang Shiyue also saw the two rays of black light shoot towards them and enter their bodies, and a massive wave of power entered their bodies. Their bodies gave off black light. Dongfang Shiyue said, "Looks like he still has you and me in his heart. If we go over now, perhaps we'll be able to see him. Let's go together." Dongfang Ye hesitated before nodding. Feng Xunsha saw the rays of black light land on the women's bodies but not on her body, and she understood that only people from the outer world would be able to receive this power. Feng Xunsha did not feel disappointed and instead smiled. Now that Zhao Fu had awakened the outer world's supreme star, they had accomplished their goal, and it was time for them to return to the heaven-awakened world. Chapter 3068. Book 1, Chapter 415. Ericina also smiled. Back then, they had followed Zhao Fu out to find some insects, and they had never thought that they would be delayed for so long in the outer world. However, this was also a good thing. Zhao Fu had successfully awakened his chaos star and became a supreme existence in the outer world. No one would have thought that someone from the heaven-awakened world would be able to do something that no one in the outer world had ever done before. Sensing the changes in his body, Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile. After awakening his chaos star and receiving the baptism of primal chaos energy, Zhao Fu's body went through massive changes. Firstly, Zhao Fu had obtained the Chaos World's Chaos Origin bloodline. This bloodline was an initial origin bloodline, and it was even purer than Yao's bloodline, which was the daughter of the origin race's chief. This was an incredibly shocking thing for the origin race, and logically speaking, it was impossible for anyone to do such a thing. Apart from the Chaos Origin bloodline, the power that Zhao Fu had obtained was the truly terrifying thing. Only this kind of supreme power could be called a true supreme power, and it could be ranked at the top even in the celestial world. Within the outer world, its effects were the greatest, and anyone who faced this power would be suppressed. This included the primordial dragon race's power, innate sun god's power, and origin moon's power that Zhao Fu had obtained in the past. Only Zhao Fu's evil celestial bloodline and evil celestial power had the ability to resist. If it was anyone else facing this power, they would not be able to retaliate at all. For example, the geniuses fighting with Zhao Fu's clones, Zhao Fu could use this power to make them submit. In the future, Zhao Fu would not have as much trouble facing the Chaos God's children and other existences with undying and indestructible attribute. This was because Zhao Fu had a power that surpassed undying and indestructible, and he could kill undying and indestructible existences. More accurately speaking, it was not just Zhao Fu's power that surpassed undying and indestructible. Zhao Fu's attribute was the primal chaos attribute. It could turn everything into primal chaos and nothingness. If it was power on the same level as Zhao Fu, it might not be able to kill those undying beings. This was also the strongest power that Zhao Fu currently possessed, and it was even stronger than Zhao Fu's 10,000 deities power from before. If Zhao Fu wanted to surpass this power or reach the terrifying might of this chaos power, he would need to awaken his final race's Emperor Star and use the power of 8 Supreme Emperor Stars to compare. Now, Zhao Fu was just one more water race Emperor Star away from awakening all of his Emperor Stars, and Zhao Fu greatly anticipated this moment. Originally, Zhao Fu's bloodline had already reached the level of an essence bloodline. Later on, after absorbing the various powers, Zhao Fu felt that Zhao Fu's bloodline was just a sliver away from surpassing the essence bloodline. Origin bloodline was the highest grade bloodline that Zhao Fu knew of. It was also the ultimate bloodline of the mortal realm. It was extremely rare even in the immortal realm. What grade of bloodline was there after the essence bloodline? Zhao Fu was not sure about this, and he most likely would not be able to find any information about it. Perhaps no one had ever reached it before. Perhaps he would be able to find some information in the immortal realm. Zhao Fu now had the ability to head to the immortal realm, which was to use the evil celestial's power to dig a passageway to the immortal realm. Zhao Fu decided to put these matters aside for now. Perhaps he would go in the future. Next was Zhao Fu's current fate. Right now, no one could compare to Zhao Fu's fate. It could be said that Zhao Fu had received all of the primal chaos fate, and it was not any weaker than the heaven-opening fate on him. With this bloodline and this fate, Zhao Fu could indeed be called the ruler of the outer world. He could use the outer world's power at any time, and all sorts of outer world laws could be used by him. If Zhao Fu really led the outer world to start a war against other worlds, it would be an incredibly terrifying thing. This was because Zhao Fu could mobilize the Chaos World's power and luck to give countless soldiers powerful buffs. He could also use the Chaos World's power to attack countless people. For example, Zhao Fu could make countless bolts of lightning fall from the sky, instantly killing countless people. He could also make a terrifying storm sweep through the world, blowing countless people away. He could also make countless hailstones fall from the sky, causing the earth to crack. As long as Zhao Fu was in the Chaos World, the Chaos World would have an almost undefeatable advantage. This was also the reason why the other worlds were afraid of them. However, Zhao Fu could only control Chaos Worlds. If he were to attack other great worlds, he would not be able to do this. He could only give his soldiers powerful attribute buffs and weaken the enemy's power. If he wanted to contend against Zhao Fu, he would have to become an existence on par with Zhao Fu. This was almost impossible. This made it so that in the future, when the Chaos Worlds attacked the Heaven Awakened world, they would not be able to do so. Alchemy and card worlds would cause the three worlds to be in a passive state. As long as Zhao Fu's cultivation reached the level of a higher being, he would be invincible against people of the same cultivation. Facing Zhao Fu's supreme power, there would only be one outcome for them: death. Zhao Fu's abilities were not only useful in this aspect. In the future, when Zhao Fu's Qin Empire attacked other factions in the outer world, Zhao Fu would have a great advantage. In the future, it would be much easier for Zhao Fu to attack other factions in the outer world, and the outer world would become a juicy piece of meat. The only downside was that his identity might be exposed, so he could not openly use it. The Chaos Stars were stars in the outer world, and could not appear together with the stars in the Heaven Awakened world. If Zhao Fu's faction was a bit stronger and he had greater comprehension of the two worlds' source energies, he would be able to make both stars appear at the same time and release the full power of the Zhao Fu Imperial Star. Now, when Zhao Fu used the Heaven Awakened Emperor Star, he could not use the Chaos Star, and when he used the Chaos Star, he could not use the Heaven Awakened Star. Finally, Zhao Fu's cultivation had reached the Void Realm and was no longer at the Emperor Sky Realm. After reaching the Void Realm, when facing higher beings, Zhao Fu would not be as powerless as before and would be able to resist. If Zhao Fu broke through to the Spirit Realm and Tao Realm, he would also become a higher being. When that time came, Zhao Fu would be the nightmare of all experts, as almost no one in the mortal world would be able to suppress him. Unless he was a celestial, even a half-celestial like Zhao Fu would be able to fight against him. The Chaos Star in the sky gradually rose up, and the ripples in the surroundings gradually returned to normal. The experts understood that this matter that had affected the entire outer world was about to end. Everyone felt incredibly excited. The outer world had given birth to such a shocking existence, and the outer world had received many benefits. They had not received much either. It was mainly because their cultivations were too high and they had nothing to do with Zhao Fu. On the other hand, the dragon race and witch race's elders had received many benefits, especially their bloodlines and constitutions, which made it easier for them to break through. Chapter 3069. Book 1, Chapter 16. The ones who obtained the most benefits were, of course, the women who had gone through the mutation with Zhao Fu. They would definitely become celestials without much obstruction. The origin races people could not give them origin constitution and origin power, and they could only obtain them by staying by Zhao Fu's side. This was their repayment for risking their lives. Zhao Fu looked at the women in front of him, and the women smiled as they looked at Zhao Fu. Yu Xianzi lightly laughed as she said, "Congratulations." The women were all very happy. Zhao Fu had become the supreme existence of the primal chaos world, and they had obtained unexpected benefit. Zhao Fu lightly nodded. The women crowded over, but Zhao Fu suddenly said, "I'll leave this place first. We'll talk later." The women felt quite surprised, but they soon sensed many experts rushing over. Zhao Fu's senses were even stronger than theirs. Zhao Fu's senses of his surroundings were even sharper than theirs. Zhao Fu turned into countless particles and dissipated. Now that Zhao Fu had awakened his chaos star, his body could fuse with the heavens and earth at any time. Even higher beings could not sense him, much less catch Zhao Fu. The experts quickly arrived and looked around, wanting to see the supreme existence of the primal chaos world. However, they were disappointed. They did not find anything. The dragon race elder asked the women hurriedly, "Where is our young master?" The countless experts looked at the women. Only they knew where Zhao Fu was. The others also spoke. "Where's our young master? Where's the person who awakened his chaos star? He's already become the supreme existence of the primal chaos world, so why is he still acting so mysterious? I also want to know where he is." "Don't worry, we won't harm him. There won't be such an idiot these days. You all know what he looks like, right? Why can't we know? Where did he go? Why can't I see him? I want to see what a supreme existence of the primal chaos world looks like." Yu Xianzi interrupted everyone and said, "He doesn't want to see you now, and there's nothing we can do. If you all want to go back, perhaps he'll hold a meeting to invite you all in the future." A handsome young man asked, "Is that true?" Yu Xianzi smiled as she said, "I only said it's possible. Now that he's the supreme existence of the primal chaos world, we can't change his mind." Another beautiful woman said, "But we really want to see him. Can you notify him? We can guarantee that Zhao Zhen will never hurt him. We only have respect for him." Yu Xianzi smiled and nodded. "I'll tell him." An elder with dark green hair said in a low voice, "Now, he's the ruler of the outer world in name and can lead us to attack the heaven-awakened world. He can make our outer world powerful. This is his mission. He's the clan is the ruler of the primal world, primal god, and the world the ruler of the ruler of in the primal the Zhen clan yen and world," said she. She wide world, the what Zhen clan the Chen had left the family people with them, family Zhenling Zhen, and yet the son of chaos had silently left. His strength was simply too great to be able to escape the detection of so many experts. If he grew up in the future, they would have to look up to him. The green-haired elder said, "Since he's left, please tell him our words. He's the son of chaos, and he's incredibly important to the world." Yu Xianzi nodded. A middle-aged man with a bull's horn and short, white hair smiled as he said, "Our longhorn bull welcomes him to visit us at any time." A black-clothed man said courteously, "If he needs my help, I'll be there at any time." A beautiful middle-aged woman, wearing a palace dress, lightly laughed as she said, "Our Qin Rouge sisters greatly admire him and would like him to visit us at any time." A ruddy-faced elder smiled as he said, "He's the ruler of the primal chaos world, so he should interact more with everyone. He shouldn't treat us like strangers. I'm willing to support him." Yu Xianzi smiled as she said, I'll tell him everything." Everyone left. The dragon race elder said, "We'll return to the dragon race first. Tell him that we'll wait for him there and hope that he can return soon." The sorcerer tribesmen also smiled as they said, "We'll wait for him at the sorcerer tribesmen as well." After saying this, the dragon race sorcerer tribesmen also left, leaving behind Yu Xianzi and the other women. The women looked at each other. Yu Xianzi smiled as she said, "We're all his women, so there's no need to stand on ceremony. We'll all be sisters in the future." Shemin Nightingale lightly harumphed as she said, "That fellow used such a despicable method to obtain me. I didn't want to be his woman, but there was nothing I could do." Shemin Fenghua sighed as she said, "Forget it, let's not fuss over these things. After all, we've benefited greatly from him, and he's now the supreme being of the primal chaos world." Shemin Sure said, "I never thought that he would have such accomplishments. With our current statuses, we're not good enough for him. Also, he's indeed despicable and shameless, bullying our Western Alliance's people like that." Moon Saintess asked curiously, "How did he treat you?" Shemin Nightingale briefly explained what had happened. Moon Saintess said angrily, "How could that fellow be so despicable and shameless? I'll properly teach him a lesson later." Riying defended Zhao Fu. "In actuality, it's quite difficult for him. He only has Emperor Heaven Realm cultivation to control the Western Alliance. If it was me, I definitely would not be able to do such a thing." Yu Xianzi lightly laughed as she said, "Luckily the Western Alliance is made up of women. If it was a man, it would not have been so easy. I wonder where he got so many methods to deal with women." Hearing this, some images appeared in some of the women's minds, causing their faces to become slightly red. By now, Dongfang Ye and Dongfang Shiyue had flown over and looked at the women with strange expressions. They did not know who they were. Dongfang Shiyue asked, "May I ask where that bastard's son is?" Yu Xianzi smiled as she said, "You're also his women, right? We'll immediately go and find him. Come with us." Dongfang Shiyue said in surprise, "You're all so beautiful. Are you all his women?" Riying lightly laughed as she said, We're all his women, and only a small portion of them came. There are still many women who haven't come, and we don't even know about some of them." Dongfang Ye said bitterly, "That fellow's too fickle." Yu Xianzi smiled as she said, "Let's go. If there's anything, we'll talk to him later." Chapter 3070. Book 1, Chapter 17. The women came to a grassy area, and there was a young man lying on the grass with his hands behind his head, as he looked at the blue sky and white clouds. Zhao Fu sat up and smiled as he said, "You're all here." Yu Xianzi smiled as she said, Zhao Fu looked at them and smiled as he said, "What do you want to say? I can answer all of you now." Yu Xianzi looked at Zhao Fu as she said, "I want to know if you're hiding anything from us." The women all looked at Zhao Fu because Zhao Fu had always been very mysterious and hid many things from them. Now that Zhao Fu had awakened a Chaos Star, he most likely had nothing to hide. Zhao Fu thought about it and nodded. Seeing this, the women all looked quite surprised. They had never thought that Zhao Fu was hiding something from them. Zhao Fu once again became mysterious and unfamiliar. Yu Xianzi asked, "What else are you hiding from us?" Zhao Fu said apologetically, "It's not convenient for me to tell you." Yu Xianzi frowned. "Then can you tell us just who you are?" Everyone felt quite curious as to just who Zhao Fu was. They felt that his identity as the son of chaos was not even his true identity. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "I'll tell you, don't be disappointed." Riying smiled as she said, "Go ahead. We won't be disappointed." Zhao Fu let out a breath as he said, "In actuality, I'm not the son of chaos, nor do I have a prestigious identity. I don't have a powerful faction behind me either. I'm just the leader of a small faction. This is my true identity." Yu Xianzi said, "You're already a supreme existence in the primal chaos world, yet you're telling me that you're just the leader of a small faction? Who would believe you?" The women all looked in disbelief. How could the leader of a small faction become a supreme existence in the primal chaos world? Zhao Fu looked at the women and lightly laughed as he said, I've already told you my identity, but none of you believe me. Shemin Nightingale said, only a ghost would believe that. Yu Xianzi thought for a moment, then asked, now that you've become the paramount existence of the primal chaos world, do you have any plans for the future? Many people from the chaos world want to meet you. Zhao Fu lay down again and said, I don't have any plans, nor do I want to see those people. Right now, given your reputation and status, as long as you are willing, you might be able to unify the entire chaos world and become a true master of primordial chaos. Zhao Fu lightly nodded. He did not have any other thoughts, as he was half a person from the heaven-awakened world. It was possible that his identity would be exposed, and unifying the outer world would not be a simple matter. Riying said, that's a chaos world lord. Are you really not interested? It just so happens that this is the time of the world war. Under your leadership, the primal chaos world might destroy the other three worlds. How could Zhao Fu destroy the heaven-awakened world? He lightly laughed as he said, I'm interested, but I don't want to do it like this. The women were somewhat disappointed. They still wanted Zhao Fu to lead all the factions and become the most powerful person in the chaos world. Yu Xianzi asked, what are your plans for the future? Zhao Fu replied, I'm planning to leave this world. The women's expressions fell. This was something that they could not accept. Dongfang Ye's expression was quite unsightly as she said, you've become a supreme existence in the outer world. Why don't you stay here and leave? The Sun Demon Robe also panicked as she said, that's right. Isn't it better to stay in the outer world? Why do you want to leave? Riying slightly frowned as she said, where are you going after leaving the outer world? Zhao Fu replied, apologies. I can't tell you. Yu Xianzi said angrily, then how are you going to deal with the matter between us? The Moon Immortals looked at Yu Xianzi. It was rare to see Yu Xianzi so angry. However, it seemed that Zhao Fu was planning to abandon them and leave, making them feel quite angry. Shimin Fenghua said coldly, if you really want to leave like this, I won't bother you. However, don't come and find me in the future. Shimin Nightingale said angrily, I won't be as polite as them. At most, I'll just die with you. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, is there a need to do this? Dongfang Shiyue coldly harumphed as she said, you're just deceiving our feelings and obtaining our bodies. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have given them to you. Zhao Fu smiled as he stood up. What are you making me out to be? Am I that kind of person? Shimin Shangxi said, you're that kind of person, you big bastard. To think that I believed that you would really take care of me and my son, and even treated you as my man. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, I'll be responsible for all of you. As long as I have time, I'll come back to see you all often. If you're willing, you can leave with me. However, I have to remind you that I'm not very good at all, and it won't be good for your cultivation at all. The women started to hesitate. They were quite reluctant to leave the place where they had lived for so many years. Moreover, just as Zhao Fu had said, that place was not good for them at all, and they did not want to go either. After all, staying in the outer world was the best choice. In fact, Zhao Fu did not want to take them back either, because he could not control them. If he was not careful, he might cause a fatal blow to Qin. Zhao Fu looked at them and chuckled as he said, you see, you're not willing either. You can't blame me for this. Dongfang Ye softly said, I'm willing. Zhao Fu's smile froze as he looked at Dongfang Ye. Dongfang Ye softly asked, can I ask you a question? Zhao Fu said, go ahead. Dongfang Ye looked at Zhao Fu as she asked, do you have feelings for me? Or are you just using me? Zhao Fu let out a long sigh of relief as he said, I have feelings for every woman, and I'll be responsible for every woman, including you. I've always felt sorry for what I did to you before, and it's not good for me to face you. Dongfang Ye gave a charming smile as she said, well, no matter where you go, I'm willing to go. Zhao Fu persuaded her, it's better for you to stay in the Eastern Alliance. Now your physique and strength have been greatly improved, and you'll soon break through to a higher realm. Shaman Nightingale said angrily, You be *starred. You feel sorry for him, but why don't you feel sorry for us? Do you know what you've done to us? Zhao Fu chuckled and held her in his arms as he said, This is retribution. Shaman Nightingale blushed slightly and glared at Zhao Fu. The women also chuckled and walked towards Zhao Fu. Next, it was time for them to teach Zhao Fu a lesson. A few days later, Yu Xianzi nestled in Zhao Fu's arms as she asked, Will you really come back to see us often? Zhao Fu nodded with a smile as he said, I promise. Riying said with a smile, Well, we'll wait for you to come back, and I hope that one day we'll be together forever. Zhao Fu said with a smile, That day will definitely come. Chapter 3071. Book 1, Chapter 18. After taking care of their matters, Zhao Fu returned to the dragon race. Long Wushui looked at Zhao Fu and said, Now that you've accomplished your goal, are you going to return to the Heaven Awaken world? Out of so many experts, only Long Wushui knew Zhao Fu's true identity. Zhao Fu nodded and said, I still have some things to take care of. After I'm done, I'll leave. Long Wushui said, Those people would never have thought that the person who awakened a chaos star would be someone from the Heaven Awaken world. Do you plan on using your identity to harm the outer world? Zhao Fu smiled as he said, I'm half a person from the outer world now, so I don't plan on doing that. Long Wushui let out a sigh of relief and asked, What are your plans after you go back? Zhao Fu went up and hugged Long Wushui as he said, You don't have to worry about this. A few hours later, Zhao Fu came before Erisina and the other women. Feng Xunsha smiled as she said, Can we go back now? Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Wait a few more days. I still have some things to take care of. Did you miss me? Erisina's face became slightly red and she pinched Zhao Fu as she said jealously, You must be taking care of those women of yours. Zhao Fu nodded. Erisina said, Hurry, we'll wait for you here. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, There's no rush. I'll stay with you all for now. Erisina shyly nodded. The next day, Zhao Fu came to a valley and 8 figures walked out. They were the 8 blood beasts. Seeing Zhao Fu arrive, the 8 blood beasts happily leapt over. A few hours later, the evil blood spider lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and lightly laughed as it said, Master, we underestimated you back then. Who would have thought that you were even more terrifying than our previous master? The blood beasts were all quite shocked that Zhao Fu had awakened a chaos star, as Zhao Fu had hidden this from them. The first evil celestial had tried to awaken a chaos star but had not been able to do so, so the blood beasts knew how difficult it was. However, Zhao Fu had done it. Back then, they had looked down on Zhao Fu, but Zhao Fu's performance had shocked them. The evil blood spider happily said, Master, how does it feel to be the Chaos World's supreme existence? Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Of course it's not bad. Xie Shuidai smiled and said, Master really wasn't wrong in the past. Master, now that you've become the master of the primal chaos world, aren't you going to lead us in a slaughter? The 8 blood beasts wanted to return to the feeling of being by the first evil celestial's side, madly killing, torturing, and devouring creatures. Now that they were with Zhao Fu, they felt that they could do as they pleased without any restraint. With Zhao Fu, they of 13 of Qin, Fu, they of the world, of Zhao. The women looked dissatisfied. The evil blood scorpion said, Master, are you so cruel as to leave us here? We don't have to kill and devour, but can you leave us here to serve you? The blood scorpion ant said, The 2 happiest things in our lives are killing and devouring, and the second is serving Master. We can't take away our 2 happiest things. Zhao Fu began to think. Now that he was at the Void Realm and had the evil celestial's bloodline, he should be able to control the blood beasts and ensure that they would listen to him and not cause any trouble. The 8 blood beasts also had special abilities that could help Zhao Fu nurture a terrifying army. In the end, Zhao Fu smiled and said, "All right. I can take you away, but the place where I go might not satisfy you. Be mentally prepared." The evil blood centipede laughed lightly and said, "It's fine. As long as Master goes there, we will go there." For the blood beasts, being able to stay by Zhao Fu's side was already the happiest thing. They did not want to stay in this place forever. As long as they could leave, they would be happy. The matter of the 8 blood beasts was settled. Zhao Fu went to the sorcerer tribe again. When the elders of the sorcerer tribe knew that Zhao Fu had come to the sorcerer tribe, they quickly came before Zhao Fu with respectful and courteous expressions. The old woman smiled and said, "Congratulations on awakening the Star of Chaos, young master." Zhao Fu smiled and said, "You're welcome." The old woman smiled and said, "Now that young master has become the son of chaos, I wonder what you plan to do? The sorcerer tribe will listen to all of young master's orders. We are also more willing for young master to stay in the sorcerer tribe and lead the sorcerer tribe." If Zhao Fu could stay in the sorcerer tribe, the sorcerer tribe would receive countless unimaginable benefits. Therefore, Old O tried his best to make Zhao Fu stay in the sorcerer tribe. However, Zhao Fu did not want to. He said, "I have many things to take care of and will not stay in the sorcerer tribe. I will leave everything to you." Hearing this, the members of the sorcerer tribe were somewhat disappointed. The old woman continued to ask, "Young master, what plans do you have in the future? Can you tell me?" Many people would ask about Zhao Fu's future plans. After all, Zhao Fu had become the ruler of the primal chaos world, and Zhao Fu's plans could change the direction of the primal chaos world. If they knew about Zhao Fu's plans, they would have made preparations in advance to avoid large losses and obtain massive benefits. Zhao Fu replied, "Not at the moment. If there is a need, I will inform the sorcerer tribe. Also, as the young master of the sorcerer tribe, I will do my best to help the sorcerer tribe prosper." Hearing this, everyone felt at ease and did not have to worry about the future of the sorcerer tribe. With Zhao Fu here, they did not have to worry about anything and could just wait for the sorcerer tribe to become powerful. Only then did the old woman ask, "Young master, why have you come back?" Zhao Fu smiled and said, "I want to see Wu Ying and the others." The old woman smiled and said, "All right, you can chat for a while. We won't disturb you anymore." The old woman and the men left. The cold-looking woman and the woman in the red dress stayed behind and flirtatiously looked at Zhao Fu. Ever since they had sex with Zhao Fu, they had not interacted much with Zhao Fu, so they did not have much feelings for Zhao Fu. Now, they wanted to complete the old woman's quest, but they really liked to do that with Zhao Fu. When Wu Ying and the other women came to the room and saw the scene in front of them, their faces became red, but they also walked in. They heard that Zhao Fu had become the master of the primal chaos, and facing Zhao Fu, they felt quite excited and happy. They had obtained great benefits and felt quite grateful to Zhao Fu. On the 3rd day, Zhao Fu told the women that he was going to leave and that he would often come to see them. After this period of time, the women had become even closer to Zhao Fu, and they nodded, indicating that they were willing to wait for Zhao Fu to come back and that they would properly cultivate. The goddess on the huge sword seemed to have come to life. She danced in the void and a powerful sword intent condensed in the void. The surrounding power of heaven and earth began to pour into it like a tidal wave, and the condensed sword intent continued to grow stronger. In the end, it formed a rhombus-shaped sword jade. Zhao Fu controlled the rhombus-shaped sword jade and fused it into the stone sword, causing a powerful sword energy to spread out and cover the fairy sword sect. The countless fairy sword sect disciples felt the sword energy and souls within their bodies quickly gather, forming a small sword jade, and a powerful sword energy was released. Everyone was pleasantly surprised because their power had been greatly increased. Zhao Fu retracted his hand and the female heavenly sword appeared before everyone as he said, "I have now strengthened the fairy sword sect's legacy. Now that you have condensed the fairy sword jade within your bodies, you will be able to quickly form the fairy sword soul. Normally, condensing the fairy sword soul would have been quite difficult, but with the fairy sword jade, it would be much easier. Zhao Fu had not used much of his sword intent source energy. The female heavenly sword smiled as she said, "Thank you." Zhao Fu said, "You're welcome. Is there anything else? Hurry up and say it." The female heavenly sword lightly laughed as she said, "That's all. We're already very satisfied that you've helped us condense the fairy sword soul. You can go and play with them now." The beautiful female disciples shyly and expectantly looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu smiled as he walked towards them. Within the courtyard, on the path, in the sword training grounds, in the pavilion, in the forest, in the pond, one could see Zhao Fu and the female disciples everywhere. 3 or 4 days later, the fairy sword sect's elders and disciples watched as Zhao Fu left, hoping that Zhao Fu would come to the fairy sword sect soon. The female heavenly sword lightly laughed as she said, "Go back and cultivate. In a short period of time, your cultivation will greatly increase." "Yes." The female disciples smiled as they replied. Zhao Fu once again came to the Bloodlong sect. The sect leaders had never thought that Zhao Fu would come back to them, and they looked shocked as they bowed towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "No need to be so polite. Back then, the Bloodlong sect helped me quite a bit, and I'm here to thank you." The alliance leaders felt quite flattered. Now that Zhao Fu's status was above everyone else, he could decide the life and death of the Bloodlong sect with a single sentence. As such, they said, "No need to thank us. This is what we should do." Xueqian you could not help but ask, "I wonder what the Primal Chaos Master plans to do in the future? If you need anything, just tell us. We'll do our best to help you." Zhao Fu smiled as he replied, "Not now, but I'll let you know if I need anything in the future." Xueqian you smiled as he nodded. Now that he was valued by Zhao Fu, he had undoubtedly obtained a massive opportunity. The blood-venomous woman bowed as she said, "Before, we forced ourselves on you without your consent. Please punish us." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Let's forget about it. If you really want me to punish you, I'll punish you later." The blood-venomous woman understood what Zhao Fu meant and said flirtatiously, "We'll be waiting for you then." After chatting with the other alliance leaders, Zhao Fu called over the women who were related to him. Xue Baimei came up and hugged Zhao Fu as she lightly laughed and said, "Did you miss your masters? You haven't come back for so long. Don't you know that your masters miss you?" Zhao Fu smiled as he replied, "Sorry, I've been very busy." Xue Baimei said flirtatiously, "Then make it up to us now." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. After staying at the Bloodlong sect for another day, Zhao Fu promised them that he would come back when he had time. Finally, he walked towards the dragon race, planning to return to the heaven-awakened world. A person's body was tightly wrapped in gray cloth, and his appearance was covered, revealing only a pair of eyes. However, his body was incredibly bewitching as he appeared before Zhao Fu and the others. Zhao Fu looked at the person in front of him with a serious expression because this person gave off chaos evil chi. This person was most likely related to the Chaos Evil Sword, and the aura he gave off was quite powerful. Zhao Fu had killed the previous owner of the Chaos Evil Sword during the trial of 10,000 swords and had taken it. Back then, he had thought that there might be some hidden dangers, and this person had finally come to find him. Zhao Fu's expression was cold as he asked, "Who are you?" Chapter 3073. Volume 1, Chapter 20. That person laughed weirdly and said, "I think you should have guessed my identity. You killed my successor and snatched away my Chaos Heaven Evil Sword's power. What do you think I will do to you?" Zhao Fu was not afraid at all. "If you want to kill me, then come over and give it a try." That person looked at Zhao Fu with a pair of sinister eyes, making one's hair stand on end. The surrounding temperature was also dropping. After a while, that person changed his tone and said with a light smile, I indeed don't dare to kill you. I still want to live for a few more years. Zhao Fu said, Why are you looking for me now? Do you want to take back the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword? This sword isn't very important to me. If you want it, I can give it to you. That person said with a smile, No need. That sword was meant for my successor in the first place. Compared to my previous successor, you are 100 times more suitable than him. I came this time without any ill intentions. I just want you to admit that I'm your master and I'll give you the true inheritance of the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword. Although Zhao Fu obtained the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword and grasped the Chaos Heaven Sword intent, he was not the true successor of the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword. After thinking for a moment, Zhao Fu said, Is it really that simple? I can acknowledge you as my master. That person said with a light smile, You have the blessing of the Chaos Star and the help of countless experts. Do I dare to do anything to you? Also, this is just a clone that I left behind. My main body is already in the immortal world. Zhao Fu revealed a somewhat shocked expression. That person said with a smile, With your strength, we should be able to meet in the immortal world very soon. Acknowledging me as your master will have great benefits for you. You won't lose out. Zhao Fu said, How do I obtain your true inheritance now? That person said, Don't be anxious. Let me introduce myself first. I'm called Xielingzi. Call me master first. Hearing that, Zhao Fu's expression eased up as he called out, Master. Xielingzi nodded his head in satisfaction and said, Follow me. Zhao Fu followed Xielingzi into an underground cave. This place was filled with Chaos Heaven Evil Qi. Furthermore, it was extremely pure. Xielingzi said, This place is the birthplace of the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword. Hand the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword to me. Zhao Fu took out the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword and handed it to Xielingzi. Xielingzi gripped the sword and poured a powerful force into it. The Chaos Heaven Evil Sword emitted a massive gray sword energy, blowing out like a violent gale. Countless images of evil demons appeared on the cave walls, giving off a shocking power. Xielingzi continued to inject power. An evil spirit tunneled out from that sword, emitting wisps of terrifying gray-colored evil air, standing by the side. At this time, Xielingzi was a little weak. Stabbing his sword into the ground, he said, Now, you shall obtain the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword inheritance. Zhao Fu walked in front of the sword and looked at the tall nefarious demon standing in front of him, and a supreme might was released. The fiend immediately knelt respectfully in front of Zhao Fu. Xielingzi revealed a shocked expression, feeling that he underestimated that kind of unparalleled power of Zhao Fu's. Zhao Fu reached his hand out and grabbed that sword. Countless evil energy poured into Zhao Fu's body. That tall nefarious demon also turned into several wisps of gray aura and poured back into the sword. A tremendous power of inheritance gushed out from the sword body, continuously possessing Zhao Fu's body, forming a sword phantom in Zhao Fu's body. Its appearance was the same as the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword. After obtaining the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword, Zhao Fu felt that using the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword was even smoother. He was also even more intimate with the Chaos Heaven Evil Qi. However, obtaining the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword's inheritance now did not have much significance to Zhao Fu, because Zhao Fu had long already awakened the Chaos Star. After Zhao Fu obtained the inheritance, that sword also changed back to its normal appearance. Xielingzi said with a smile, Now you're the Chaos Heaven Evil Sword's inheritor. Put away the sword then. Zhao Fu said with a smile, Thank you, master. Xielingzi smiled slightly. No need to thank me. With a disciple like you, I'm very happy too. Zhao Fu saw through Xielingzi's very frail appearance and asked, Master, what's wrong with you? Xielingzi explained, This is just a clone of mine. Originally, it was for the sake of finding a successor. Because I gave 2 inheritances, the source strength consumption is very great now. Zhao Fu suddenly hugged Xielingzi and said with a smile, "Then I'll help Master recover his strength." Xielingzi's expression froze. A few hours later, a woman with long gray hair, an extremely beautiful face, purple pupils and purple lips, and a bewitching temperament laid in Zhao Fu's embrace. Xielingzi's complexion was rosy as he spat. "I won't even let you off, this stinking brat." Zhao Fu said with a light smile, "Aren't I helping Master recover his strength?" Now that he obtained Zhao Fu's help, Xielingzi was not that weakened either. Xielingzi gave a light snort. "This is just a clone of mine. The main mission is to find the successor. Now that I found it, it'll disappear in the first place. It's useless for you to help me recover." Zhao Fu said with a smile, "Master is so beautiful. I don't wish for Master to leave." Xielingzi said with a smile, "You stinking brat, still want to keep possessing me? That won't do. I'll definitely take back this clone." Zhao Fu said rather disappointedly. Oh! Originally, Zhao Fu still wanted to keep Xielingzi. Because she was someone from the immortal world, and did not have much formidable strength right now, Zhao Fu could easily control her. Xielingzi was of considerable help to him too. Xielingzi's eyes looked at Zhao Fu's appearance and said with a light smile, "If you miss Master, then hurry up and cultivate. Come to the immortal world. Master will be waiting for you." Zhao Fu said with a slight smile. "And got it." Xielingzi kissed Zhao Fu. "Then Master is leaving," Zhao Fu said. "So fast?" Xielingzi said with a smile. "And you have to hurry up and come to the immortal world. For someone like you, the immortal world is the place you should go." Zhao Fu said. "Got it." Xielingzi's body turned into numerous light spots and dissipated. Zhao Fu also left that place. Zhao Fu would not go to the immortal world so quickly. At least, he had to settle all sorts of matters first before saying anything. Returning to the Dragon Clan, Ericina's eyes looked at Zhao Fu and asked concernedly, "Can we go back now?" Zhao Fu nodded. "We'll pack up and return to the Heaven-Awakened world." Ericina smiled and said, "We don't have much to pack up. Let's go now." Zhao Fu looked at Long Wushui and asked, "Do you want to go back with us? Perhaps I can find a way to remove the seal." Right now, Long Wushui's cultivation was still sealed. Through cultivating with the dragon power that Zhao Fu had given her, she had only recovered a bit. Long Wushui said, "I won't be going. My cultivation will be faster if I stay in the dragon race. Also, remember that you're half a person from the outer world. I don't want to be troubled by these things in the future." Zhao Fu smiled and said, "Don't worry. If that day really comes, I won't hurt you." Long Wushui felt a wave of warmth and said gently, "Come back and visit us when you have time." Zhao Fu nodded. After packing up everything, Zhao Fu brought the women towards the Heaven-Awakened world. Chapter 3074. Book 1. Chapter 21. After traveling for 10 or so days, Zhao Fu finally returned to Qin's base in the outer world. Seeing Zhao Fu return, countless people were delirious with joy, and the news quickly spread throughout Qin. Li Si, Bai Qi, and the other ministers did not wait in Qin and came before Zhao Fu, smiling as they bowed. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I've been gone for so long, it's been hard on all of you." Li Si respectfully smiled as he said, "It's our honor to be able to work for your majesty." "Welcome back, your majesty." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded as he asked, "Did anything happen while I was away from Qin?" Li Si replied, "Please return to Qin, your majesty, and this minister will explain everything to your majesty." Zhao Fu thought that there was nothing for him to do in the outer world, so he nodded and everyone returned to Qin. After coming to Qin, the ones who were the most shocked were the 8 blood beasts. They had never thought that the supreme existence in the outer world would be someone from the Heaven-Awakened world, and a king from a small faction at that. This was simply too big, and they had not expected this at all. However, they only cared about Zhao Fu as a person and did not care about anything else. Zhao Fu sat on the throne in Qin Palace, and the various ministers stood in front of Zhao Fu. Li Si started to explain what had happened after Zhao Fu had left. The Heaven Awakened World Allied Army had carried out many small-scale attacks and one large-scale attack, and there had not been many casualties on either side. This was because Qin had released a large number of insects and ferociously attacked the Allied army. Zhao Fu's goal in going to the outer world had been to gather a large number of insects to deal with the Allied army. However, he had changed his plans, and the task of gathering insects had been given to Xueji. As a chaos insect, Xueji was quite skilled at attracting insects, and she had been the one who had gathered them. She had made a great contribution in this, and Zhao Fu decided to properly reward her in the future. Apart from this, nothing else had happened in the Heaven Awakened world, and the Qin Empire had been developing steadily. The godly world and underworld had been developing smoothly, and nothing major had happened. The alchemy world. They had encountered some difficulties in their development. A few large factions had appeared, and they were not just from the alchemy world but also from the Heaven Awakened world. They were both at the level of royal kingdoms. Right now, Great Qin was quite well behaved and did not make any big movements. Li Si said, "Your Majesty, the 10 Iron Kingdom on the left has the best development momentum, but it is not very friendly to Qin. It wants to annex the territory of Qin." Zhao Fu nodded. "Yes, I'll deal with them later." Li Si glanced at Zhao Fu and said, "The situation in the card world is very bad." Zhao Fu frowned. "Speak." Li Si said, "We have already withdrawn all the troops and citizens from the card world." "What?" Zhao Fu looked at Li Si in surprise. He had never thought that things would turn out like this. This was the first time that Qin had evacuated from another world. Zhao Fu asked seriously, "What happened?" Li Si looked at Bai Qi. Bai Qi bowed and said, "Back then, the Allied army in the Heaven Awakened world was tying up a large number of Qin's forces, and the Dragon Kingdom in the card world also attacked. The Dragon Kingdom's strength was incredibly terrifying. In the first battle, they caused a large number of casualties to Qin, and Qin was only able to defend against the Dragon Kingdom with great difficulty. After seeing Qin's strength, the Dragon Kingdom slowed down their attacks against Qin. Seeing that Qin was heavily injured, the other kingdoms in the card world also started to attack Qin. In the end, the Dragon Kingdom used the other factions to exhaust Qin's strength and launched a ferocious attack against Qin. This minister discussed with the other ministers, and it was decided that Qin was at a disadvantage in the card world. The benefits he received were far greater than the costs he paid, so he decided to temporarily return to the card world. After hearing this, Zhao Fu thought to himself and said, "The Dragon Kingdom?" A few minutes later, the palace was quite silent. The ministers all felt quite nervous and did not dare to make a sound. Zhao Fu looked at Li Si and said, "Now that Qin and the Dragon Kingdom are at war, you should have some information about the Dragon Kingdom. Gather that information and give it to me." Li Si let out a sigh of relief and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Zhao Fu asked, "Apart from that, is there anything else?" Li Si asked, "Everything else is just a small matter. If Your Majesty is willing to listen, I'll report it to Your Majesty." Zhao Fu thought about it and said, "Forget it, report it to me later. If there's nothing else, you can leave." Li Si asked, "Your Majesty, we want to hear about what happened in the outer world. Also, is the person who awakened the Chaos Star and became the supreme existence in the outer world really Your Majesty?" Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile and said, "What do you all think?" The only people who benefited from Zhao Fu's awakening of the Chaos Star were people from the outer world. The people and factions in the Heaven Awakened world did not receive any benefit. Back then, when the Chaos Star had descended, Qin and the others had only felt that it was somewhat familiar, but they could not be sure if it was Zhao Fu. After awakening the Chaos Star, Zhao Fu's status had become the supreme existence in the outer world. This was even more noble than Zhao Fu's status in the heaven-awakened world. Qin and the others also felt a sense of danger and did not know what was going on. When they felt this sense of danger, it was when Zhao Fu had chosen the heaven-awakened world and the chaos lifeform. If Zhao Fu had really chosen the outer world, then everything in Qin would have had nothing to do with him. Qin would have lost its master, and the ministers would have lost their loyalty. Qin's fate would have lost its center, and without a doubt, Qin would have directly collapsed. Thinking about it rationally, if Zhao Fu had chosen to become someone from the complete outer world, the benefits would have been far greater than in the heaven-awakened world. However, because Zhao Fu could not bear to part with Qin or his subordinates and friends, he had chosen to absorb the life laws of both worlds. Seeing the smile on Zhao Fu's face, the ministers immediately looked delighted and said, "Congratulations, Your Majesty! Congratulations, Your Majesty!" Zhao Fu had never disappointed them. No matter where he was always the most dazzling person. Becoming the master of the outer world had been a great help to Qin. Bai Qi smiled as he said, "Your Majesty, what are your plans? What's your plan this time?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I'll only know after I understand Qin's situation. I'm not too sure right now." Bai Qi nodded. Zhao Fu asked, "Is there anything else?" The ministers stood there and did not say anything. Zhao Fu said, "Court dismissed." The ministers smiled as they left the palace. Now that Zhao Fu had returned, they felt much more at ease, and they felt that Qin would go through great changes. Li Si did not disturb Zhao Fu and smiled as he said, "General Bai, let's go together to celebrate Your Majesty's return." Bai Qi nodded. Chapter 3075. Book 1, Chapter 22. Zhao Fu had to deal with the 8 blood beasts first. A few hours later, Zhao Fu brought them to a region in the outer world and said, "This place will belong to you in the future. I'll send people here to build a palace." The evil blood butterfly said unhappily, "Why didn't we stay in your palace? Why did you bring us here?" Zhao Fu explained, "It's not suitable for you to stay in the Qin Imperial Palace. It's more convenient for you to recover here, and I want you to nurture a large number of strange insects." The evil blood butterfly said, "We wanted to be with you, so we followed you here. However, you threw us here. This is no different from before." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "How is it no different? I'm not restricting your movements, so you can come to the heaven-awakened world to find me. Also, you're creatures of the outer world, so you can only recover in the outer world. If you're in the heaven-awakened world, you won't leave." The evil blood butterfly lightly harumphed, "You threw us here and want us to help you nurture strange insects. What about us?" Zhao Fu shamelessly laughed as he said, "Isn't being with me every day the greatest benefit?" The evil blood butterfly said, "That won't do." Zhao Fu looked at her and said, "What do you want?" The evil blood ant suddenly said, "We want the evil celestial bloodline within your body. We also want to break through our restrictions and become a new existence." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "What should I do then?" The evil blood ant said, "You just need to feed us your blood every day and do that with us." Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "That's all?" The evil blood ant nodded. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "All right, I'll satisfy you." The women all smiled. Zhao Fu thought of something and said, "There's an evil celestial historical remnant here. I obtained the evil celestial legacy from there. If you have time, you can go take a look. Perhaps it'll be of some help to you." The evil blood scorpion said in surprise, "A historical remnant left behind by the previous owner? We definitely have to go take a look." The evil blood ant said, "This is a historical remnant that the previous owner left behind before he died. You should have many things there that can help us recover our strength." The evil blood ant smiled and said, "Let's go quickly." Zhao Fu said with a smile, "Go ahead. I have other things to deal with." The girls nodded. Zhao Fu returned to the heaven-awakened world and went to Qin's Sea of Flowers. The flower fairy looked delighted as she called out, "Husband, you're back." Zhao Fu said with a smile, "Well, this time I also brought something good." The flower fairy asked curiously, "What?" Zhao Fu smiled and took out a glowing seed. The flower fairy was pleasantly surprised as she said, "This is a rare flower seed of the spirit race. It's rarer than other seeds. How did you get it?" Zhao Fu chuckled as he said, "That's an accident. I obtained it in the primal chaos world. She's also a flower lover. She'll be back soon. You two will get along well." The flower fairy sweetly smiled and replied, "Husband, let's go plant this seed now." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, The other flowers were abnormally tall and filled with life force. It was a pity that none of them had bloomed yet. Zhao Fu felt quite confused, especially the world flower that Zhao Fu had planted the earliest. Even though it had a bud, it did not look like it was going to bloom. Waiting for it to bloom was the longest thing that Zhao Fu had waited for. Nothing else could compare to this. Zhao Fu thought about it and did not pay too much attention to it. They could bloom whenever they wanted, and his main goal was to recover the flower fairy's power. The flower fairy came to a flat piece of land with a small stream next to it. She smiled as she called out, "Husband, let's plant the spirit flower seed here." Zhao Fu smiled as he walked over and said, "No problem." Zhao Fu tapped the ground with one hand, and the soil on the ground automatically moved to the side. Zhao Fu was now using the power of laws. Following this, Zhao Fu took out the spirit flower seed and squatted down to place it in the small hole. The flower fairy happily squatted down, and the two of them covered the seed with soil. Zhao Fu said, "Move aside." The flower fairy curiously retreated to the side and looked at Zhao Fu curiously. Zhao Fu raised a hand and released a formless energy. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the spirit race's Emperor Star gave off boundless light, forming a pillar of light that contained massive spirit energy as it descended, landing on the small mound of soil. The flower fairy looked at Zhao Fu in shock. Apart from Zhao Fu, no one else would use an Emperor Star to grow flowers. A large amount of spirit energy entered the spirit flower seed, and it started to sprout. It grew faster and faster, and a massive flower appeared in front of Zhao Fu. This flower was about 1 meter tall, and it was quite short compared to the other flowers. After all, it had just been planted. The flower's stem was spiral-shaped, and one side was white while the other was black. There were also umbrella-like leaves that were dark green and had all sorts of inscriptions on them, and they gave off powerful spirit energy. There was nothing at the top of the flower, and it would take a long time for a flower bud to grow. Now, out of the 8 wondrous flowers, only the devil flower and water flower were left. If he could collect them, this long and arduous quest would finally be over. However, in order to obtain these 2 flowers, he would most likely have to go to the devil domain and water domain. It would be quite difficult to obtain them elsewhere. The flower fairy looked at the spirit flower in front of her and felt quite uneasy. Zhao Fu looked at the flower fairy and lightly smiled as he asked, "What is it? Shouldn't you be happy at a time like this? Now there are only 2 flowers left." The flower fairy frowned as she said, "I don't know why, but I feel that something bad is going to happen." Zhao Fu asked curiously, "What bad thing is going to happen?" The flower fairy shook her head, "I'm not sure, it's just a feeling." Zhao Fu said, "Is it because you planted the spirit flower that you have this feeling?" The flower fairy nodded. Zhao Fu asked, "Could this have something to do with the wondrous flowers? Will something bad happen if I collect all of the wondrous flowers?" The flower fairy thought as she said, "I'm not sure either. I feel that the wondrous flowers are giving me a premonition and that it won't do me any harm. However, I'm not sure what it is." Zhao Fu could not understand and did not have any hints or information. He could only wait until he collected all of the wondrous flowers to find out. The flower fairy felt quite worried. Zhao Fu hugged her and smiled as he said, "Don't think about it, you won't be able to figure it out right now." The flower fairy nodded and looked seriously at Zhao Fu. "Husband, if something happens, I will always stand by your side and support you." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Let's not waste any more time." The flower fairy's face became red and she leaned into Zhao Fu's embrace. Chapter 3076. Book 1, Chapter 23. After Zhao Fu left the flower field, he went to the Qin Imperial Palace and accompanied Wu Qingyang and the other women for a few days. Finally, he started to look up various information about the Dragon Kingdom. This Dragon Kingdom might be difficult for others to deal with, because dragons were always powerful in any world. Unfortunately, he had met Zhao Fu. Now, Zhao Fu had a plan to deal with the Dragon Kingdom, but he still needed some preparation. Now that Zhao Fu had the primordial dragon race's power and the sovereign power of the heaven-awakened world's dragon race, in order to better deal with the Dragon Kingdom, Zhao Fu wanted to capture a few dragons to experiment. Zhao Fu called Li Si over. "I'll be away for a few days. I'll leave Qin to you and Bai Qi." Li Si was astonished. "Your Majesty is leaving again?" Zhao Fu smiled and said, "Yes, don't worry. I won't be gone for too long this time. I'm just looking for a way to deal with the Dragon Kingdom." Li Si breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "No problem. I will manage Qin well with General Bai." Just as Zhao Fu was about to leave, Hilary, the daughter of King Locke, and Elena, the president of the Knights Guild, found Zhao Fu in the card world. Zhao Fu chuckled. "What's wrong?" Hilary said bitterly, "Did you forget about us?" Zhao Fu smiled and said, "How is that possible? I was just about to deal with your matter." Hilary said apologetically, "I'm sorry. I didn't manage the kingdom well." Tina Pendragon said earnestly, "It's because of me. This has nothing to do with Hilary. Please punish me and remove my status, Your Majesty." Zhao Fu looked at Tina Pendragon and Hilary. "Back then, I handed the kingdom to you. Now that the kingdom has been destroyed, you are responsible for retreating in such a sorry state, but it's not all your fault. Retreating from the card world was the result of Bai Qi and the other generals' discussion. You don't have to blame yourselves." Tina Pendragon insisted, "Your Majesty, please punish them." Hilary said, "If you really want to punish someone, punish me and Tina." Zhao Fu let out a breath and said, "All right. Say no more, I still have things to do." Elena smiled and said, "It's fine if Your Majesty doesn't want to punish us. Let's not make things difficult for Your Majesty. There's one more thing we'd like to ask Your Majesty. How do you plan to deal with the knights?" Originally, Zhao Fu had asked Elena and Hilary to cultivate a group of knights. Now that the kingdom had been destroyed, the plan to form a group of knights had to be put on hold. Now that everyone had exited the card world, they could not nurture the cavalry army. They lacked a lot of materials and the power of the card world. Zhao Fu said, "After I deal with the Dragon Kingdom, you can continue to train the cavalry." Hilary was pleasantly surprised. "Do you have a way to deal with Qi Dragon now?" Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. Hilary said with a smile, "That woman from Dragon Kingdom is too much. She doesn't even want to give us a chance to live. I want to see how she loses." Zhao Fu smiled and said, "I'm leaving. I'll accompany you when I come back." Hilary smiled and nodded. Tina Pendragon blushed slightly. Zhao Fu returned to the card world. It had been more than 2 months since Qi Dragon conquered Qin's card kingdom. Zhao Fu appeared in another area. Previously, this area had been occupied by the Dragon Kingdom, so Zhao Fu could not teleport there. Zhao Fu found a city, which happened to be controlled by the Dragon Kingdom. Zhao Fu came here to collect information about dragons in the card world. A group of soldiers wearing dragon-shaped armor walked over. They held dragon spears and had big sabers on their waist. They looked solemn and gave off a powerful aura. The others stepped aside. Zhao Fu also retreated to the side. A handsome young man next to him said excitedly, "These are the elites of Chi Dragon. They look so powerful and handsome. I want to be a soldier in the future." A young girl next to him smiled and said, "It's not that easy to enter the elite army of Chi Dragon. You should see if you can enter the Dragon King's army first." The young man was not convinced, and he said, "Just you wait. Not only do I want to become an elite in the Dragon King's army, but I also want to enter the cavalry and see our great and beautiful king." The young girl smiled and said, "I also want to see our king with my own eyes. After Chi Dragon got rid of that Qin's kingdom, we are now the most powerful kingdom. No one dares to bully us. I feel so proud." The young man smiled and said, "I heard that Qin's Wang Guoping was very powerful, but he was still defeated by our king. I think even 10 Qins would not be a match for us." The young girl chuckled and said, "Don't be so proud. You didn't defeat that Qin's kingdom, it was our king who defeated Qin." The young man said confidently, "So I have to work hard now. Although I didn't destroy Qin's kingdom, I can destroy other kingdoms in the future and contribute to our king." The young man looked at the young girl and said, "Do you want to join the army with me? Serve our king together?" The young girl said, "No, I want to enter the Dragon King's palace in the future and serve our king personally. I don't like fighting." The young man snorted and said, "Women's ideas are really useless." The young girl glared at the young man and said angrily, "I'm leaving." The young man felt that he had said something wrong, so he quickly chased after her and apologized. As the master of Qin's kingdom, Zhao Fu, who was standing next to them, heard these words and looked a little embarrassed. Zhao Fu went directly to the Knights' Union. The person who received Zhao Fu was a thin young man. He smiled and asked, "What can I do for you?" Zhao Fu said, "I want to find a few dragons, the stronger the better." The young man smiled and said, "In Chi Dragon, ordinary people are forbidden to talk about anything related to dragons. If you want to find a dragon, it will be more expensive." Zhao Fu waved his hand and threw a big bag of gold coins at him. The thin young man revealed a satisfied smile and said, "I can provide you with information about dragons in Chi Dragon, and I can also provide you with information about dragons outside Chi Dragon. You have to remember that all dragons in Chi Dragon belong to Chi Dragon." Zhao Fu's goal was to find a few powerful dragons, so he did not have much information about dragons in Chi Dragon. Moreover, he did not want to alert Chi Dragon. Zhao Fu said, "What I want is information about the stronger dragons. It's best if they are nearby. You don't have to tell me about those that are far away." The thin young man nodded. 10 minutes later, Zhao Fu flew in a direction. The place he wanted to go was quite far away from Chi Dragon, and it would take him 2 days to get there. Above a city, a few dragons of different colors were flying in the air. They looked like lizards and had a pair of wide wings. Their bodies were covered in scales, and they had a pair of dragon horns. In terms of appearance, the dragons in the card world were not much different from the dragons in other worlds. A green dragon let out an arrogant young man's voice, "Hurry up and hand over all your treasures. Otherwise, we brothers will eat you all." Chapter 3077. Book 1, Chapter 24. Translated by Hypersheep 325. Edited by Micure. Within the city, countless people fearfully took out treasures and piled them up on the ground. These dragons were quite notorious and often plundered everywhere. Many cities had been persecuted by them, but they rarely massacred cities and usually just scared people. The red dragon looked at the treasures on the ground and his eyes shined as he smiled and said, "Big brother, we made the right decision to come to this city. We've actually plundered so many things." The green dragon smiled as he said, "It's all thanks to Old 3. He was the one who gave us the information." Old 3 and Old 4, a blue dragon, smiled as they said, I found out about this by accident, we were quite lucky this time. The final dragon was a white dragon, who chuckled as he said, I hope that our luck will be better in the future and we'll be able to take a few more cities to show filial respect to Dragon Mother. The blue dragon said, Dragon Mother's birthday is coming up, we need to give her a surprise. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of chains could be heard as 4 chains shot out from the ground and quickly shot towards the cities in the sky. Before the 4 dragons could react, their necks were bound by the chains. This caused the 4 dragons to feel quite startled, and they hurriedly flew to the side, wanting to break free from the chains. However, the chains firmly locked them down, and they could not fly away no matter how hard they tried. The dragons turned their heads and saw a man in a cloak on the ground. He was holding 4 chains in his hands. Those were chains, the 4 chains that bound them. Within the city, countless people looked quite shocked. They had never thought that someone would be able to easily bind up these dragons. The green dragon roared, Who are you? Hurry up and let us go, or we'll tear you apart. The 4 dragons saw that the person ignored them and pulled the chains downwards, causing them to feel a massive force pulling them downward. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the 4 dragons smashed onto the ground, creating a large crater. Now, the 4 dragons lay on the ground, looking quite terrified. They knew how terrifying this person was, and that they were not a match for him at all. Zhao Fu did not say anything as he pulled the 4 dragons and flew to the side, landing on a secluded area. The green dragon said, What do you want to do to us? Zhao Fu smiled as he said, I just want to understand you dragons. The green dragon said solemnly, How do you want to understand? Zhao Fu smiled coldly and said, How? For example, tasting your flesh, drinking your blood, looking at your dragon hearts, and playing with your dragon tendons. The 4 dragons looked at Zhao Fu in fear, and the green dragon said nervously, You can't do this to us or you'll be eaten by Dragon Mother. Although you're very powerful, you can't compare to Dragon Mother. Zhao Fu smiled and said, Really? Then take me to her, I just happen to need a stronger dragon. The 4 dragons glanced at each other. They didn't want to be eaten by Zhao Fu. Their hearts and tendons were dug out, so they could only take him to Dragon Mother. Zhao Fu sat on the green dragon's back and wrapped 4 chains around their necks before flying to the side. After everyone landed on the ground, the green dragon called out, Dragon Mother, come and save us. Boom! A massive aura spread out, causing the ground to tremble and trees to sway. Countless birds were startled and flew into the sky. An enormous creature appeared in front of Zhao Fu. This dragon was incredibly massive and had azure scales and a pair of azure wings. There were 3 iron-like horns on its head, and it gave off a massive aura. Clang, 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 the sounds of countless chains could be heard as countless chains shot out from the ground and bound that dragon. The azure dragon gave a massive roar and a shocking power burst forth. The massive dragon vigorously struggled, but it was unable to break free from the chains. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, It's useless. With your strength, you won't be able to break free. The azure dragon struggled and found that it could not break free, so it could only give up. It looked at Zhao Fu and said in a mature woman's voice, Who are you? The other 4 dragons' expressions were quite unsightly. They had wanted Dragon Mother to save them. However, they had never thought that Dragon Mother would be bound by this person as soon as she came out. This person's strength was simply too terrifying. Zhao Fu laughed as he said, Why should I tell you? The green dragon immediately called out, Dragon Mother, hurry and run. This fellow wants to eat us and dig out our hearts. The green dragon said, Did the 4 of them offend you? I apologize to you and am willing to give you all of my treasures. Please spare them this once. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, I'm not interested in your treasures. Now behave yourselves. The green dragon's expression was serious as it thought about how to escape. Zhao Fu came before the green dragon and grabbed out with his hand. The green dragon's blood started to gather at his forehead, and an orb of blood flew out. The green dragon immediately became quite weak, as this orb of blood was his essence blood. Zhao Fu caught the orb of blood with his hand. A ball of flame ignited in his palm, igniting the orb of blood. Zhao Fu was now purifying that orb of blood. Not only was such a low-grade dragon's blood useless to Zhao Fu, but it would also contaminate Zhao Fu's body. The fireball continuously burned until only a drop of blood was left. Zhao Fu absorbed it into his palm, closed his eyes, and started to look at the dragon's blood in the card world. A few minutes later, Zhao Fu looked at a blue dragon and grabbed out with his hand. Another orb of blood flew before Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu watched as it absorbed the dragon's blood, and felt the changes. A few minutes later, Zhao Fu once again opened his eyes. At that moment, the green dragon could not help but ask, "What are you trying to do?" Zhao Fu said, "Didn't I tell you? I just want to study you, but your bloodlines are too low-grade and I feel that they are of no use to me at all." Hearing Zhao Fu's arrogant tone, the green dragon understood that Zhao Fu's identity was very noble. "Then can you let us go after you're done studying us?" Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "That might not be the case, and I can't guarantee our survival." Boom! Hearing that he would still die, the green dragon exploded out with terrifying power, and a green gem appeared between his eyebrows. This was a wind dragon treasure, and it had a very powerful wind dragon's power. This was the green dragon's life-saving method. A gale ferociously blew towards Zhao Fu like countless blades, causing the ground to split open. Zhao Fu calmly stood there, and the four dragons looked terrified as they released their power to resist. The chains continuously clanked under the wild gale, as if they were about to break. Boom! At that moment, a wave of supreme dragon's power descended, causing the surroundings to fall silent. The green dragon and the four dragons lay on the ground in terror, their bodies and souls not daring to resist at all. To them, this wave of dragon's power was like heaven itself. Chapter 3078. Book 1, Chapter 25. Translated by Hypersheep 325. Edited by Micah. Zhao Fu looked at the wind dragon precious treasure on Azure Dragon's head, and said with a smile, "I knew that the dragons in the card world must be special. Now, show me everything you have." Hearing Zhao Fu's words and sensing the terrifying aura, Azure Dragon understood Zhao Fu's identity. He was a supreme dragon from another world. If Zhao Fu asked her to sell herself, she wouldn't dare. Azure Dragon said fearfully, "I'm sorry. Please forgive my impulsiveness. No matter what you do to us, we will cooperate. Please spare our lives." Zhao Fu smiled and said, "Sure. Now, show me the power of the precious treasure on your head. I am very interested in it." As soon as Zhao Fu finished speaking, the many chains that bound Azure Dragon retracted. Azure Dragon didn't dare to escape and stayed where she was. She now understood how terrifying Zhao Fu was. Azure Dragon gathered an immeasurable amount of power and poured it into the dragon precious treasure. The dragon precious treasure emitted a terrifying power, and an azure wind swirled around it. This was Azure Dragon's attack with all her strength. Boom! A huge azure pillar of wind swirled and shot towards Zhao Fu. It was so powerful that the ground couldn't withstand the force and shattered. Countless sand and leaves were blown away. An energy barrier emerged from Zhao Fu's body. Boom! The azure pillar of wind collided with the barrier. The azure pillar of wind swirled continuously, and strong gusts of wind blew in all directions, uprooting the plants. However, such a powerful attack couldn't break through Zhao Fu's defense. Now, Zhao Fu was an emptiness realm expert. His strength was more than 10 times stronger than before. The power of the azure pillar of wind gradually weakened. Eventually, it turned into a few gusts of azure wind and dissipated. Zhao Fu smiled and praised, "Your strength is not bad." Azure Dragon asked carefully, "Lord, is there anything else?" Zhao Fu asked, "How did your dragon precious treasure form?" The azure dragon replied, "It is formed by the power of the wind and the power of the bloodline in my body. The dragon treasure can be formed in advance. If it is not formed in advance, the dragon treasure will automatically form when it reaches adulthood. This is the sign of a dragon reaching adulthood. However, this kind of dragon treasure is not as powerful as the one condensed by itself." Zhao Fu looked at the dragons behind him. They were still youths and were not very strong, so they had not condensed a dragon artifact yet. According to the azure dragon, an adult dragon would have a dragon artifact. Zhao Fu was quite interested in it. This dragon treasure could quickly increase all of the dragon's powers, including dragon power, bloodline power, defense, physique, and speed. Only when a dragon used the dragon treasure could it be considered to be using its full power. Zhao Fu extended his hand and a suction force was generated. The azure dragon could only feel the blood essence in its body being sucked away. A ball of blood flew out from the black dragon's head and floated in front of Zhao Fu. It then flew into Zhao Fu's body. When a dragon reached adulthood, it would automatically form a dragon treasure. This meant that this was an innate ability of the dragon race. As long as Zhao Fu obtained the bloodline of a dragon, he would automatically obtain this ability. After the ball of blood entered Zhao Fu's body, it turned into countless azure dragon-shaped inscriptions and dissipated. Zhao Fu's body quickly changed. Zhao Fu's head turned into a dragon's head and a pair of wings grew out. His hands and feet turned into dragon claws. His entire body was covered in azure scales, and his body grew bigger. Soon, Zhao Fu's body burst out of his cloak and a massive azure dragon appeared. It looked quite similar to the azure dragon from before. The azure dragon and the other dragons looked at Zhao Fu in shock. Zhao Fu's aura and power were the same as the azure dragon's. If they hadn't seen it for themselves, they would have thought that Zhao Fu was the azure dragon's son. Zhao Fu flew into the sky and flapped his wings, stirring up the wind in the heavens and earth. A massive azure wind surrounded Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu started to use the dragon race's innate ability. The dragon-shaped inscriptions within his body continuously gathered at his forehead, and countless traces of azure dragon power also gathered at his forehead. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the heavens and earth started to change. An azure ray of light shot out from Zhao Fu's forehead into the sky, and a massive wind spread out. Within the ray of light, countless azure crystals started to condense, and an even more terrifying wave of dragon power covered the surroundings. The surrounding dragons felt a mighty pressure and crawled on the ground, unable to resist at all. They felt a wave of fear in their hearts. The azure crystals continuously gathered, forming an octagonal azure jade. Within it was the image of an azure dragon that seemed to have a life of its own. The dragons looked at the scene in shock. This person in front of them was indeed terrifying. The dragon treasure that he had casually condensed was a peak-grade dragon treasure. This was a dragon-shaped treasure that Zhao Fu had condensed using the azure dragon's bloodline, and he had not fused any other powers into it. If Zhao Fu had fused other powers into it, for example, if he had fused 2 other types of supreme dragon power into it, along with Zhao Fu's supreme bloodline, the dragon treasure would definitely be the most terrifying dragon treasure in the card world. Zhao Fu's body shrank, and he returned to his human form. The azure gem also continuously shrank until it was the size of an egg. Zhao Fu held his azure gem and smiled. Now that he had absorbed the azure dragon's blood and condensed a dragon treasure, Zhao Fu had some understanding of the dragons in the card world. The other dragons stared blankly at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was not wearing his cloak, and it was the first time they had seen such a perfect person. Zhao Fu looked at the other dragons and waved his hand, causing a few rays of light to shoot into their bodies as he said, "From now on, you will all be my subordinates." The dragons did not dare to refuse, and they respectfully said, "Yes." Zhao Fu said, you should be able to transform into human form. The dragons nodded, and their bodies started to change. The other dragons turned into 4 youths, and they looked just like normal people. The azure dragon turned into a beautiful woman with a mature figure wearing an azure dress. Zhao Fu asked a few more questions and found out that the azure dragon was called Long Fengmei, and the 4 youths were called Long Xiao Yi, Long Xiao Er, Long Xiao San, and Long Xiao Si. They were all abandoned dragon eggs that Long Fengmei had picked up and hatched. They were not born by Long Fengmei, so the 4 youths called Long Fengmei Dragon Mother and not Mother. Zhao Fu said to Long Fengmei, "Do you know where the dragon graveyard is?" Now that he understood the dragon's attributes, Zhao Fu planned to make something to deal with the dragon kingdom. Long Fengmei said, "There is a dragon graveyard under this disk, but it is not very big." Zhao Fu was pleasantly surprised and smiled as he said, "Bring me there to take a look." Long Fengmei nodded. The group flew into a cave and came to an underground space. There were tens of massive dragon skeletons here, and even though they had become bones, they still gave off powerful might. Zhao Fu looked at these massive dragon skeletons and felt that they would not be enough to deal with the dragon kingdom. Chapter 3079. Book 1, Chapter 26 translated by Hypersheep 325 edited by Micir. Zhao Fu asked, "Apart from here, are there any other dragon tombs? I need at least another 100 dragon skeletons." Long Fengmei thought to herself and said, "There aren't any nearby, but there's a dragon tomb a bit further away. The dragons there have some grievances with us." Zhao Fu asked, "What grievances?" Long Fengmei explained, "A long time ago, our 2 dragon groups had an intense battle, and many dragons died. Some of them are buried here, and they have even more dragons. There should be around 100 of them." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Take me there." Long Fengmei smiled and nodded, feeling quite happy in her heart. Perhaps she could use Zhao Fu to destroy them. Even though so much time had passed, the enmity between the 2 sides had not been completely resolved. After that battle, the 2 dragon groups had become much weaker. On one side, only Long Fengmei remained, while on the other side, there were also a few dragons. Zhao Fu followed Long Fengmei to a region. It was a fiery red desert and there were tall red mountains. It looked quite desolate and did not have many creatures. Long Fengmei said, "It's here." Zhao Fu looked around. Whoosh! A massive red gale mixed with sand and rocks blew towards Zhao Fu and Long Fengmei, looking quite terrifying. Zhao Fu did not act, and Long Fengmei opened her mouth and blew out an azure gale, which clashed with the red gale, causing an even stronger gale to sweep out. In the end, the 2 gale dissipated. A beautiful middle-aged woman dressed in a red dress appeared. She was called Long Hongyan, and she was one of the remaining people from the dragon group. Long Hongyan said with a cold expression, "Your Azure Wind dragon group dares to come to our territory?" Long Fengmei looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "I told her to come here." Long Hongyan looked at Zhao Fu and asked, "Who are you?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "You don't need to know who I am. I'm here to take your dragon bones." Long Hongyan coldly harumphed, "You want our dragon bones? You're seeking death." What? Long Hongyan slapped out with a palm, and a few red gale beams shot towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu condescendingly laughed and pointed out with his finger, causing a massive wave of energy to flow out. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the red gale beams were dispersed by a wave of energy. Long Hongyan did not hesitate and immediately tried to turn back into a dragon. Without much hesitation, she immediately wanted to transform back into a dragon. Zhao Fu did not give her this opportunity and grabbed at the air, causing a massive wave of power to grab Long Hongyan. Long Hongyan's face became pale. Facing this power, she could not resist at all. Long Hongyan, and Long, dragon and Long Hongyan said coldly, My daughters are in the upper echelons of the Dragon Kingdom. You'd better let me go, otherwise my daughters will take revenge on you. Dragon Kingdom? Zhao Fu lightly laughed. Long Hongyan could not tell what Zhao Fu meant. The Dragon Kingdom was the strongest power in the region, and almost no one dared to offend them. That was why she used the Dragon Kingdom to threaten Zhao Fu. Her daughters were indeed in the Dragon Kingdom, and they had high statuses. At that moment, Zhao Fu came in front of Long Hongyan. Long Hongyan said coldly, "What do you want? Aren't you afraid of the Dragon Kingdom?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "What's so scary about the Dragon Kingdom? This time, I'm here to destroy the Dragon Kingdom." Long Hongyan's heart sank as she said in disbelief, "I don't believe that you can destroy the Dragon Kingdom." Zhao Fu tapped Long Hongyan's chest with his finger, and a wave of supreme dragon power spread out. Long Hongyan's expression froze as she looked at Zhao Fu in disbelief. She had never felt such terrifying dragon power before. Zhao Fu looked at her and smiled as he said, "Do you believe me now?" Long Hongyan's expression became quite unsightly. Now, she somewhat believed that this dragon power was most likely a supreme dragon power, and she said, "What do you want?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Didn't you use your daughter to threaten me? After I destroy the Dragon Kingdom, I'll capture your daughter and slowly torture her." Long Hongyan hurriedly said, "No, you can't do that to my daughter." Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and lifted Long Hongyan's chin as he smiled and said, "That depends on your performance." Long Hongyan felt quite angry, but she did not dare to resist. Zhao Fu had just left a restriction within Long Hongyan's body, so he loosened it and smiled as he said, "Take me to your dragon tomb." Hearing this, even though Long Hongyan did not want to, she still brought Zhao Fu to the dragon tomb. The dragon tomb here was even bigger than the previous one, and there were 100 or so dragon skeletons of various sizes. These dragon skeletons together with the dragon skeletons from before were enough to satisfy Zhao Fu's needs, and Zhao Fu started to put them into his spatial ring. Long Hongyan could not help but ask, "Why do you want these dragon skeletons?" Long Fengmei also looked at Zhao Fu curiously. She also wanted to know, but she did not dare to ask. Zhao Fu did not mind as he said, "I want to make some things that will be important to destroying the Dragon Kingdom." Hearing these words, Long Hongyan felt even more worried. Even though the Dragon Kingdom was incredibly powerful, the person in front of her was even more terrifying. She said, "Now that I've given you the dragon skeletons, can you let me and my daughter off in the future?" Zhao Fu looked at her and gave a trace of an evil smile as he said, "Come here." Long Hongyan knew that Zhao Fu did not have good intentions, but she still walked over. She had no choice but to do this for her daughter. This matter was also related to her, and if she had known, she would not have brought up her daughter. A few hours later, Long Hongyan and Long Fengmei lay in Zhao Fu's embrace, and Long Hongyan's face was red as she said, "Are you satisfied now?" Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Yes, I can guarantee that you won't harm your daughter." Hearing this, Long Hongyan let out a sigh of relief. Her efforts had not been in vain. Zhao Fu put away the dragon skeletons and said, "You can come back with me." Long Fengmei asked, "To your world?" Zhao Fu nodded. Long Fengmei said, "Can I bring little one, little two, and the others?" Zhao Fu said, But you have to discipline them and don't let them cause trouble." Long Fengmei smiled and nodded. After Zhao Fu returned to Qin City, Long Fengmei and Long Hongyan found out about Zhao Fu's true identity. They had never thought that Zhao Fu was the ruler of Qin City, and that Qin City had been defeated by the Dragon Kingdom. They felt quite strange. How could someone with such terrifying power and bloodline be the ruler of a small kingdom? Moreover, Qin City had been defeated by the Dragon Kingdom not too long ago. Could he really destroy the Dragon Kingdom? Zhao Fu did not care about what they thought, and he started to make preparations for destroying the Dragon Kingdom. It was not that simple, so he had to prepare a lot of things. Chapter 3080. Book 1, Chapter 27. Half a month later. Zhao Fu made all the preparations and brought the army to re-enter the card world. The first thing he needed to do was to choose the teleportation location. Zhao Fu had already chosen a deserted desert. Moreover, he had set up a large number of interface transfer points. This place was quite a distance away from the Dragon Kingdom, so the teleportation point could not be set up too close. It would be easy to be discovered, and if the Dragon Kingdom found out, the teleportation point would be destroyed, causing the teleportation to fail. Zhao Fu rode at the very front, leading the team into the teleportation array. Many of the soldiers were also excited. Last time, Qin had been defeated by them. This time, they were here to take revenge. Moreover, they were led by their majesty, so they were even more confident. After Qin teleported to that area, he immediately began to set up defenses. The news spread quickly. In the main hall of the Dragon Kingdom, Davis said with a look of disdain, "A loser dares to come back? Your Majesty, please allow me to lead troops. Within 3 days, I will destroy the Qin Kingdom." A handsome young man dressed in white armor called Litak lightly laughed as he said, "We've fought with Qin Kingdom before and have already figured out their background. However, they're just a newly advanced royal kingdom, so there's no need to pay too much attention to them. General Davis can easily destroy them." Yadwa said, "This Qin is not weak, and he actually dared to come back this time. It's obvious that he's here for revenge. He must be prepared. We should be careful." A woman with red hair tied up in a ponytail and a sexy figure dressed in armor. She was called Long Huiyan, one of Long Hongyan's daughters. She was also one of Long Xinyan's most valued generals and was in charge of leading a group of dragon cavalry. Long Huiyan smiled confidently and said, "The Qin Kingdom is just a new kingdom. It doesn't have any background. No matter how strong it is, it can't be stronger than the Dragon Kingdom. Destroying it is a piece of cake. Your Majesty, you should consider whether the Qin Kingdom will collude with other powers." A middle-aged man wearing a long robe said, "We've already defeated the Qin Kingdom, so there's no need to worry about their threat. I also believe that we should be worried about the nearby factions." Yadwa said, "Ever since we destroyed the Qin Kingdom, our Dragon Kingdom has become the strongest force here. The nearby kingdoms have always been afraid of us. They just haven't found an opportunity yet. If they do, they will definitely attack us." Litak said, "Your Majesty, why don't we pretend to attack Qin and lure those forces to attack? We can take the opportunity to weaken those forces. If they don't fall for it, we can destroy Qin." Long Xinyan pondered for a moment before asking, "Does anyone have any objections to his plan?" Everyone fell silent. Yadwa didn't object. This was a better way to resolve this matter, and she couldn't think of any other way. Long Xinyan stood up and said, "Good. Long Huiyan, I order you to lead 10 million cavalrymen and 8 billion soldiers to destroy Qin. Remember, this time Qin will come back prepared. Don't be careless." Long Huiyan smiled and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." After the discussion, everyone congratulated Long Huiyan. This was a good opportunity to make a great contribution to His Majesty, and they would be valued even more by His Majesty in the future. In everyone's eyes, this was an easy task. They wanted to go, but Long Xinyan didn't choose them. Long Huiyan smiled as she responded to everyone. She didn't know what she was going to face. After a day or so, Long Huiyan gathered the army and started to head towards Qin. The nearby factions were also looking for opportunities to act against the Dragon Kingdom. After all, Tuwei and Qin had already been destroyed by the Dragon Kingdom, so they would be next. If they destroyed them, after 100 years of development, the Dragon Kingdom would become an imperial kingdom. Qin didn't bring many soldiers this time, only 10 billion or so. They were all Stage 2 soldiers, and because the Dragon Kingdom's basic forces were all Stage 2 soldiers, Zhao Fu could only use Stage 2 soldiers. Using this time, Qin built a simple city wall. Long Huiyan also came with her army. Looking at Qin, Long Huiyan didn't waste any words. She wanted to destroy Qin and go back as soon as possible. However, she was quite cautious, so she sent out a vanguard to test the waters. The hundreds of millions of Dragon Kingdom soldiers gave off a powerful aura as they attacked Qin like a raging river. Everyone on the city wall looked at Zhao Fu. Now Zhao Fu was their leader. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he said, "Attack!" Swish, 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 the sound of the air being torn could be heard as arrows tore through the sky, shooting towards the Dragon King's army like raindrops. The Dragon King's army gave off a golden aura that gathered together to form a golden river, making it even more ferocious. The arrows that shot into it were quickly sent flying, and they didn't seem to cause any damage. Swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, rays of light shot out as a sharp aura spread out, and countless arrows containing terrifying power shot towards the Dragon King's army. As Qin shot out the rune arrows, the Dragon King's army, which had already fought with Qin, was prepared. The golden river of aura continuously condensed, and formed a massive golden dragon, which rushed towards Qin with a massive aura. Puff, puff, puff. The rays of light hit the golden dragon's body, causing the golden dragon to be pierced with arrows. Because the arrows were blocked by the golden dragon, they didn't cause much damage to the soldiers. By now, the golden dragon had already arrived in front of Qin, but Qin didn't do anything. Boom! The golden dragon hit the city wall. The city wall had only been temporarily built by Qin, and it wasn't very strong. The golden dragon directly shattered the city wall's restrictions, causing many cracks to appear on the city wall. The Dragon King's army started to attack Qin. Arrows shot up the city wall, covering the other soldiers as they attacked the city wall. Qin defended while attacking the attacking Dragon King's army with arrows and heavy objects. Long Hongyan looked quite confused. The Dragon King's army was attacking the city wall, but Qin didn't use any special methods. Qin didn't need to worry, as there were only hundreds of millions of soldiers attacking. He just needed to gather his forces and destroy them with his advantage in numbers. Beside Long Huiyan was a short-haired woman with a similarly seductive figure. She was called Long Qinghong. Another had a fiery figure and a wild aura, and she was called Long Yehua. There was also a beautiful woman with a similarly seductive figure, and she was called Long Zimei. The four sisters were all Long Hongyan's daughters, and they were the main generals responsible for attacking Qin. Long Zimei said, "Big sister, let's launch an all-out attack." Long Yehua said with a smile, "Big sister, let me lead the charge. I'll bring General Qin's head to see you right away." Long Qinghong said, "It's time to attack, or else the vanguard will be lost. The cavalry division can act as a backup in case Qin has any other method." Chapter 3081. Book 1, Chapter 28. Long Huiyan nodded. "Then you will be in charge of attacking Wildfire." "All right," Long Yehua said with a confident smile. Boom! The Dragon King's army launched an all-out attack, rushing towards Qin like a flood. A terrifying aura poured out. Roar, roar, roar on Qin's side, countless roars could be heard. Huge creatures appeared in the sky. It was a group of flying monsters. There were giant eagles, giant bees, giant vultures, ugly strange birds, countless demon beasts condensed huge demon chi bullets, which gave off a terrifying power and shot towards the Dragon King's army charging over. The Dragon King's army emitted a golden aura. It was like a huge golden ocean. The demon chi bombs fell into it, making muffled sounds. The power of the explosions was absorbed by the golden aura. Zhao Fu looked at the ferocious Dragon King's army. They were indeed very powerful. However, Qin was not weak. Zhao Fu waved his hand, and thousands of forbidden balls flew out. These forbidden balls were miniature versions of the Hua families in the alchemy world. They were not as destructive as the forbidden balls, but many could be made. Thousands of golden balls flew silently into the Dragon King's army. Many lines lit up, and a destructive aura spread out. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as fiery light shot into the sky and shock waves spread out. The terrifying aura caused everyone to feel terrified. Many places in the Golden Ocean exploded, and many of the Dragon King's army were blown away. Huge holes appeared in the Golden Ocean, and there were mutilated corpses everywhere. Is this what Qin has prepared? Long Huiyan continued to mutter to herself. This was only a small part of the Dragon King's army's losses. Long Huiyan ordered the army to continue attacking fiercely. The golden aura continued to condense, forming huge golden shields. They rushed forward with even more terrifying aura. Qin continued to release giant alchemy holy beasts. The alchemy holy beasts aimed their huge cannons at the Dragon King's army. Countless rays of light came out, and a dangerous aura spread out. Boom! 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 Terrifying beams of light seemed to pierce through the sky, shooting towards the Dragon King's army with great power. They were very fast, and their momentum shook the surroundings. Bang, 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 the beams of light hit the golden shields, causing ripples of light to spread out. The golden shields were extremely tough, and after blocking the countless beams of light, only some cracks appeared. The Dragon King's army continued to charge at Qin with great momentum. On Qin's side, the alchemy sacred beast continued to shoot out beams of light. Countless rays of light illuminated the surroundings, and a terrifying aura spread continuously like waves of air. On the Dragon Kingdom's side, everyone was waiting for a few factions to attack. However, those factions didn't attack. It was as if they knew that the Dragon Kingdom was waiting for them. It was estimated that the other forces would not attack at this time. The Dragon Kingdom's focus was also on Qin's side. Long Xinyan asked, "What's the situation on Qin's side?" Yadwa said, "The progress is average. Qin is resisting with all his might, and the Dragon Cavalry hasn't made a move yet, in case Qin has other tricks up his sleeves." Long Xinyan nodded. "I think we should be able to conquer Qin very soon. Your Majesty, you just need to wait for the good news." Hearing this, Long Xinyan was silent, thinking about what Qin had prepared to come to the card world. Bang, bang, bang. With the constant efforts of the alchemy sacred beast, Qin finally shattered the golden shield, breaking the Dragon King's army's defense. However, before Qin's side could rejoice, the countless golden auras emitted by the Dragon King's army gathered together again, forming a huge golden dragon head. With a power that could destroy everything, it crashed towards Qin's side. The momentum was frightening. Back then, the Dragon King's army had used this move to break through Qin's defense and attack Qin's territory in the card world. Now, Qin was ready to use this move. On the city wall, the alchemy soldiers squatted down and placed their hands on the ground. Waves of terrifying alchemy power gathered. Boom, boom, boom. On the ground, a huge metal ridge quickly rose from the ground, splitting the Dragon King's army in half from the middle. Some people were knocked away, while others fell to the ground, causing the condensed dragon head to collapse. Seizing this opportunity, Qin's many demon beasts released countless demon chi bombs at once, flying towards the Dragon King's army. Bang, bang, bang. The demon chi bombs landed on the Dragon King's army and exploded, sending countless Dragon King's soldiers flying. Blood and broken limbs splattered everywhere, and screams rang out continuously. Long Yehua, who was in charge of the charge, climbed up from the ground in a sorry state. He looked at the many demon beasts in front of him angrily and shouted, "Use the dragon spears!" One by one, the Dragon King's soldiers took out golden spears with dragon patterns engraved on them and threw them at the demon beasts in the sky. Roar, roar, roar. Dragon roars sounded out, and the dragon patterns on the dragon spears swam, dragging along waves of powerful force as they shot towards the demon beasts in the sky. Some demon beasts were hit by the dragon's spears, and blood splattered everywhere as they cried out in pain. Some seriously injured demon beasts fell from the sky. The alchemy sacred beasts immediately aimed their cannons at the Dragon King's army. Knowing how terrifying these alchemy sacred beasts were, Long Yehua immediately ordered countless people to stop attacking and start defending. One by one, the Dragon King's soldiers raised the shields in their hands, and waves of golden force radiated out. Chapter 3082. Book 1, Chapter 29. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out in all directions as the dragon riders started to charge, turning into a torrent of destruction as they charged towards Qin's side. The wind and clouds changed, and their momentum was terrifying. The devil beasts on Qin's side condensed devil balloons and shot them towards the dragon riders with great power. However, the dragon riders ignored the devil balloons and continued to charge towards Qin's side. Before the devil balloons could get close, a terrifying power slammed into them, causing them to collapse and dissipate into aura. The dragon riders did not suffer any losses. Swish, 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 countless beams of light tore through the sky, bringing with them astonishing power as they descended from the sky and landed on the dragon riders. Explosions continuously sounded out, and countless rocks flew out, causing the ground to tremble. However, after the dust settled, it only left behind large craters on the ground and did not cause any damage to Long Qi's group. The dragon riders' bodies gave off golden light, forming golden scales that wrapped around them. It was these scales that blocked the attacks of the god refinement beast. Zhao Fu was somewhat shocked at how powerful the dragon riders were. They could actually withstand the attacks of the god refinement beast. The dragon riders fearlessly charged over, as if they were invincible. Long Zime lightly laughed as she said, "Once the dragon riders appear, Qin will not be able to retaliate. We'll definitely win this time." Long Qinghong looked ahead seriously as she said, "I also feel that Qin has no way to resist. I heard that Lord Qin is leading the army this time. If we can capture him alive, it will be a great merit, and His Majesty will be very happy." Long Zime happily smiled as she said, "I'll personally capture Lord Qin. I heard that Lord Qin is very powerful, but compared to His Majesty, he is nothing." Long Qinghong nodded. "He might be very powerful in the eyes of ordinary people, but His Majesty is not on the same level as him, so there is no need to bother." Long Zime asked curiously, "Then why does Lord Qin still dare to come to the card world this time?" Long Huoyan said with a smile, "I know. Maybe this Lord Qin doesn't know what's good for him. I guess he's not convinced by our defeat last time. Now, let's show him the terror of the Dragon King's army." Long Huoyan shouted, "Everyone, attack!" After receiving Long Huoyan's order, the Dragon King's army emitted a monstrous golden aura, which seemed to be able to destroy the world, and rushed toward Qin. That aura made the ginseng soup cold, and an extreme sense of despair welled up in his heart. The dragon cavalry moved even faster, seeming like a dragon-shaped bolt of lightning as it blasted towards Qin, seeming to cause everything to collapse. Zhao Fu smiled. He has been waiting for this moment for a long time. A pale white rune appeared on Zhao Fu's palm, and waves of pale white light spread out. Boom, 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 massive waves of black energy shot out from the ground, and massive bone pillars with divine dragons carved on them slowly rose up from the ground. There were over 1,000 of them in total, and a monstrous supreme dragon power was released. Within the Dragon King's army, Long Huoyan and the other women felt this supreme dragon power, and their expressions fell as their bodies became icy cold. After the dragon bone pillars rose up, each one was hundreds of meters long and gave off an outstanding pale light. A massive barrier slowly formed, covering all of the Dragon King's army. Long Huyen sensed that the situation was bad and immediately shouted, "Everyone, retreat from this barrier!" However, it was too late. A vast supreme dragon's might was released and landed on the Dragon King's army. Facing this supreme power of the dragon race, the dragon blood in their bodies was so terrified that it felt like it was going to be expelled out of their bodies. Their souls were also suppressed by this power, and they could not resist at all. The dragon horses were even worse off, and they all fell to the ground in fear. Their bodies were still trembling, and their eyes were filled with terror. Without their mounts, the dragon cavalry were like toothless tigers. Moreover, the dragon blood within the dragon cavalry was more powerful, so they were affected even more. The ordinary Dragon King's soldiers' strength was reduced by at least half, while the dragon cavalry's strength was reduced by at least 70%. Zhao Fu laughed as he called out, "Attack!" "Ha ha!" Countless devil beasts excitedly cried out and flapped their wings as they leapt towards the Dragon King's army, mercilessly killing and devouring. A devil beast swiped out with its claws, leaving behind a few claw marks as it tore apart 10 or so Dragon King's soldiers' bodies, causing blood and flesh to fly everywhere. Another devil beast flapped its wings, creating a powerful gust of wind that blew a few soldiers away, while some devil beasts opened their mouths and devoured a few Dragon King's soldiers. The many alchemy saint beasts aimed their cannons at the Dragon King's army, and a dangerous aura spread out. Boom! 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 Countless beams of light containing terrifying power shot towards the Dragon King's army, illuminating the surroundings and giving off shocking sounds. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out, and this time, the Dragon King's army was unable to resist. Their bodies were blasted into the sky, causing blood and flesh to fly everywhere as screams continuously sounded out. Swish, swish, swish! Qin's soldiers once again shot out countless arrows. Each arrow contained immense power, and they rained down like a torrential downpour, piercing through the Dragon King's soldiers' bodies. Many of the Dragon King's soldiers were pierced by the arrows. Now, the Dragon King's army no longer had any desire to fight, and they only wanted to escape. Like a tide, some people even threw down their armor and weapons, looking quite wretched and no longer looking as mighty as before. After Qin's soldiers launched a wave of ferocious attacks, many of the Qin's soldiers ran down and quickly chased after the Dragon King's army. A Qin soldier held a spear and pierced through a Dragon King's soldier's body. A Dragon King's soldier stopped and wanted to attack, but he was immediately beheaded by another Qin soldier, causing blood to spurt out. An arrow tore through the air and shot down a Dragon King's soldier. A Qin soldier waved his saber, sending out a sharp saber light that hit a Dragon King's soldier's body and sent him flying. A Qin soldier quickly rushed forward and cut off a Dragon King's soldier's head with a sword light. Seeing the dead Dragon King's soldiers, a Dragon King's soldier angrily rushed towards Qin's soldiers, only to be hacked to death. Qin's soldiers were not weak to begin with, and now that the Dragon King's army had been weakened by half, they had no power to fight back against Qin's soldiers. They were one-sidedly slaughtered by Qin's soldiers. Blood splashed everywhere, and the ground was littered with the corpses of the Dragon King's soldiers. The more Dragon King's soldiers died, the more terrified the remaining people became. They had never been so afraid of the Dragon King. As the Dragon King's elites, they had encountered similar situations before, but they had never experienced such fear. Chapter 3083. Book 1, Chapter 30. They were now affected by the dragon bone pillars, and not only were their powers weakened, but they were also filled with fear towards this supreme power, making them not have the confidence to stay and fight. Some people tried to attack the dragon bone pillars, but as soon as they came close, their body's power was completely suppressed, and they powerlessly fell to the ground. These dragon bone pillars were the center of the supreme dragon power, and they gave off the most powerful supreme dragon power. The dragon bone pillars were also protected by powerful barriers, and even if someone was immune to the supreme dragon power, it would be very difficult to destroy them. The Dragon King's army fled. Zhao Fu watched as the Dragon King's army disappeared. Long Huiyan and the other women's faces were pale as they ran. They could never have imagined that Qin had such a terrifying thing that could completely suppress them. With this thing, Qin would be able to destroy the Dragon Kingdom. Now, they did not dare to underestimate Qin. They had returned to Qin to destroy the Dragon Kingdom. A figure suddenly appeared in front of them. Long Huiyan and the other women did not stop. Their main goal was to escape. They planned to go around Zhao Fu, who was in front of them. A few chains shot out from beside Zhao Fu and shot towards Long Huiyan and the other women. Long Huiyan and the other women wanted to retaliate, but their power struck the chains. However, they were unable to affect the chains at all, and the chains quickly bound Long Huiyan and the others. Zhao Fu took them and flew towards Qin. Long Zimei struggled and cried out, "Who are you?" Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "Didn't you come for me?" The women felt quite shocked as they said, "You're the ruler of Qin." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. Zhao Fu and the women landed on Qin's walls, and their expressions were quite unsightly. Now that they had fallen into Qin's hands, they definitely would not have a good ending. They did not know how Zhao Fu would deal with them. At that moment, someone they did not expect to see appeared in front of them, and they cried out in shock, "Mother, why are you here?" Long Hongyan smiled as she said, "I'll tell you later." After this battle, Qin had wiped out more than 2 billion soldiers and captured more than 3 billion captive. Only a little more than 1 billion of the Dragon King's army had escaped. Because the cavalry corps had been suppressed the most powerful group had become the weakest. Zhao Fu did not purposely slaughter them, and instead did his best to preserve them. This was because Zhao Fu knew how difficult it was to raise a cavalry regiment, and it was even more difficult to raise such a powerful cavalry regiment. Zhao Fu planned to subdue the Dragon Kingdom and turn them into a sharp dragon spear for Qin. Of the original 10 million dragon cavalry, Zhao Fu had gained 5 million dragon cavalry. More than 1 million had died and 4 million had escaped. Zhao Fu directly sent the captives back to Qin and let Qin take care of them. Right now, this place was only a temporary base and couldn't accommodate that many people. It could be said that Qin had won the war completely. He had eliminated so many troops of the Dragon Kingdom with very little cost. The Dragon King Palace had been waiting for the good news of killing Qin, but they didn't expect to hear the news of the Dragon Kingdom's crushing defeat. Davis had a look of disbelief as he said, "How can Qin have such terrifying strength? I don't believe that our Dragon Kingdom has been defeated." The middle-aged man sighed and said, "I don't believe it either. Now only a few 100 million soldiers have escaped. I don't know how many more there are, but it's certain that our Dragon Kingdom has been defeated, and it's a crushing defeat." Litek said, "Where are Long Huiyan and her sister?" The middle-aged man said, "They seem to have been caught by an expert from Qin. They're probably dead." Yadwa sighed and said, "Qin has become so terrifying after coming back." Long Xinyan asked with a cold face, "Didn't the Dragon Kingdom have a big advantage at the beginning and the end of the war? How did the situation turn around?" The middle-aged man said, "According to the soldiers who escaped, what turned the situation around was that Qin used dragon bone pillars. These dragon bone pillars formed a pale white barrier, and an unimaginable dragon power was released. At that time, the dragon horses of our Dragon Kingdom were so scared that they collapsed on the ground, and the dragon cavalry regiment suffered heavy losses." Litek was shocked and said, "What kind of dragon power is that? How can it have such terrifying power?" The middle-aged man said, "I'm not sure. Those soldiers said that it was a very, very terrifying dragon power. They have never felt this kind of dragon power." Long Xinyan said in a deep voice, "Qin has prepared such a terrible thing. He must have the intention to destroy the Dragon Kingdom. Now that they have dragon bone pillars to restrain us, They have become the most dangerous enemy. We must find a way to break the dragon bone pillars as soon as possible. Yadwa said, this may be related to the survival of the Dragon Kingdom. We must deal with it with all our strength. Hearing this, everyone nodded. They looked serious. The news spread quickly. This time, Qin's heavy losses to the Dragon Kingdom shocked everyone. Countless people were shocked, not only because the Dragon Kingdom was the strongest force here, but also because the Dragon Kingdom had defeated Qin and expelled Qin from the card world. This time, Qin's strength had increased a lot, which made everyone feel scared and curious. Several big forces were smiling. They were thinking about who could weaken the Dragon Kingdom's strength. Otherwise, they would all be in danger. They didn't expect that one would appear so soon. Although Qin belonged to the hostile world, these forces didn't want to help the Dragon Kingdom. Now, they didn't want to help anyone. They only wanted the two forces to suffer losses. To destroy both of them at once. It was okay for the two forces to be in a stalemate. They also had time to accumulate strength and prepare for the future destruction of the Dragon Kingdom. Back to Qin's station. In the room, Zhao Fu was ravaging Long Huiyan and her sisters. Long Hongyan looked at the scene helplessly. Although Zhao Fu promised her that he wouldn't hurt her daughters, he didn't say that they couldn't do it. However, it was better to follow Zhao Fu than to stay in the Dragon Kingdom. After seeing the terrifying dragon bone pillars with her own eyes, Long Hongyan believed that Qin would destroy the Dragon Kingdom sooner or later. A few hours later, Zhao Fu smiled as he hugged the women and smiled as he said, "Tell me what you know. You're higher-ups in the Dragon Kingdom and should know many secrets." Long Huiyan lightly harumphed. "Don't think that you can make us submit to you like this. We won't betray His Majesty so easily." Zhao Fu smiled as he said, "It doesn't matter. I'll capture your Majesty sooner or later." Long Qinghong couldn't help but ask, "Where did you get such a terrifying thing?" Zhao Fu didn't care as he said, "I made it myself." Long Yehua immediately said, "Impossible! How could you make such a terrifying thing?" Long Hongyan said, "It was indeed made by him, and he used dragon bones from our dragon graveyard." Hearing this, the women looked at Zhao Fu in shock. Chapter 3084. Book 1, Chapter 31. St. Long Huiyan said, "How come you have such a terrifying ability?" Zhao Fu said with a smile, "This is just one of my many abilities. I have even more powerful abilities." Hearing this, the women were even more shocked. Long Yehua said, "What is your identity? I don't believe that you are from a small kingdom with such terrifying abilities." Zhao Fu said with a smile, "You will know in the future. How about submitting to me now?" Long Yehua snorted, "No." Zhao Fu said with a smile, "Then I won't force you. Anyway, I will destroy the Dragon Kingdom soon." The women might not have believed him before, but facing Qin's terrifying abilities, they had no choice but to believe him. Thinking that the Dragon Kingdom they were loyal to might be destroyed, the women felt quite complicated. Zhao Fu stood up and left. He planned to let the army rest for a day before attacking the Dragon Kingdom tomorrow. The next day, the ministers of the Dragon Kingdom gathered together. Their expressions were serious. They had already received news that Great Qin was attacking the Dragon Kingdom. The two armies met. On the city wall of the Dragon Kingdom, Long Shunyan looked coldly at the army in front of her, with the ministers behind her. Zhao Fu and the generals stood in front of the army, looking at the Dragon Kingdom's army on the city wall. Zhao Fu said, "This time, Qin came for revenge. Now you better submit to me or you will regret it." Long Shunyan said coldly, "Don't be delusional. The Dragon Kingdom will not submit to anyone. Also, if the Dragon Kingdom can destroy you once, it can destroy you again." Zhao Fu nodded and said with a smile, "Last time, Qin lost. Very few people can make Qin suffer such a loss. I admire you. Now kneel in front of me, and I will make you my concubine." Long Shunyan said with some anger. "I will cut off your head and kick it like a ball." Zhao Fu chuckled and turned his head, saying, "Attack!" Kakaka, many devil beasts once again flew into the sky. There were so many of them that they seemed to cover the entire sky, and they gave off massive auras. Giant refinement holy beasts were also released, causing the ground to violently tremble, and waves of thick heavy metal energy enveloped the surroundings. Boom, boom, boom. Massive sounds rang out as the devil beasts condensed devil chi bullets and shot towards the dragon kingdom. The god refinement beasts shot out terrifying beams of light, and the massive sounds caused people's limbs to go weak. The dragon kingdom had already made preparations, and the city walls gave off a golden aura. Countless dragon scales appeared, forming a massive wall that blocked in front of the city walls. Bang bang bang, countless devil chi bullets and beams of light slammed into the dragon scale wall, causing shocking ripples to spread out, looking quite terrifying. However, the dragon scale wall was able to block the wave of attacks without sustaining much damage. Zhao Fu looked at the scene before him. If he didn't use the dragon bone pillar, the dragon kingdom would be very difficult to deal with. Zhao Fu didn't hesitate. He pressed one hand on the ground and a pale light wave instantly spread out. Boom boom boom, waves of pale dragon power rushed out of the ground, and dragon bone pillars slowly rose up from the ground, forming a horizontal line. Waves of supreme dragon power spread out in all directions. The dragon kingdom's people's hearts sank. Before, they had been under the illusion that the dragon bone pillars could only be used as traps, but now, Zhao Fu could directly summon them and use them at any time. Feeling this terrifying dragon power, everyone understood just how terrifying the soldiers who had escaped had been. Now, their bloodlines seemed to have become ice cold, and their bodies were covered with cold sweat. They felt intense fear, and some people didn't even dare to move. Long Shenyan's expression was quite unsightly. It was the first time she had felt such terrifying dragon power. This dragon power was definitely a supreme dragon power, and it could easily suppress the dragon power within her body. At this moment, she felt fear in her heart. How had Qin obtained such a terrifying thing? It was simply a killing weapon against them, and they had to destroy it or else they would have no chance of winning. Long Shenyan called out, "Throw dragon spears." Countless soldiers immediately took out spears with dragon inscriptions and threw them with all of their might. Roar! Roar! Ao, 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 dragons' roars sounded out as the dragon spears gave off golden light and gave off immense power as they shot towards Great Qin. Tens of thousands of dragon spears shot over, but Zhao Fu was not afraid at all. The dragon pillars that were arranged horizontally burst out with countless pale white light. The powerful dragon spears were illuminated by the pale light, and their power continued to decrease. In the end, they fell to the ground powerlessly, not causing any damage to Qin. However, Long Shenyan was already prepared. When the numerous dragon spears fell, she shouted, "Use the flying spirit stream bullet." Countless soldiers took out cards. On the front of each card, there was a picture of a cyan energy body flying around. After the soldiers threw out the cards, they turned into huge green oval-shaped objects and shot towards Qin. In just a second, they arrived in front of Qin and hit the dragon bone pillars. Bang bang bang, massive explosions sounded out as countless rays of green light shot out in all directions. The ground continuously shattered and shockwaves spread out in all directions. Long Shenyan looked ahead. Since the dragon bone pillars greatly countered the dragon kingdom, they would not use dragon power. In the card world, as long as they had cards, they could use all sorts of powers. I hope that this wave of congratulations will be effective. After the dust settled, the dragon bone pillars appeared in front of everyone. It was just that there were some cracks on the dragon bone pillars. Even though the dragon bone pillars were protected by a barrier and were made of tough materials, it was still quite difficult for them to withstand so many attacks. Seeing that it was effective, Long Shenyan smiled and immediately had the countless soldiers use their cards. The cards once again flew out and turned into countless rays of green light that shot towards Qin's side. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed. This time, he won't give us any chances. Countless alchemy holy beasts shot out densely packed beams of light, exploding all of the cyan stray bullets that were shooting over. Massive sounds continuously sounded out, and cyan energy shot out in all directions, causing the ground to continuously crack. Boom! A massive explosion shook the surroundings as Zhao Fu gathered all of the dragon bone pillars' power together. An enormous pale pillar of light shot into the sky, and heaven and earth power continuously gathered as a sovereign's might spread out. Even the Dragon King's army in the distance was affected, and their power gradually weakened, making the Dragon King's army feel uneasy. Chapter 3085. Book 1, Chapter 32. The situation was quite disadvantageous to the Dragon Kingdom, and as the Pillar of Light became stronger, the suppression on the Dragon King's army would become stronger. Long Shenyan's expression was cold as she raised a hand, and countless rays of golden light shot out from her palm. Rumble! The deafening sound spread throughout the Dragon Kingdom. Countless golden auras surged and gathered above Long Shenyan like a flood. The golden aura continuously condensed and changed into a three-headed dragon with a muscular body and shining golden scales. It also had a pair of massive golden wings, and it gave off a massive wave of dragon power. Roar! The dragon gave a massive roar and flapped its wings, causing countless rays of golden light to shoot out and a massive wave of dragon power to spread out. The Dragon King's army, which was covered by the golden light, quickly became stronger rather than weaker. The pale white light from the Pillar of Light and the golden light from the golden dragon clashed, and a shocking aura swept out in all directions. With the support of the golden light, the Dragon Kingdom's morale was once again boosted, and they were able to resist Qin. They would not suffer a crushing defeat like before, where they had no power to resist at all. Zhao Fu looked at Long Shenyan and wanted to use the Dragon Kingdom's fate to resist. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed, and 2 rays of black light cut open his palms, causing blood to flow out. Zhao Fu ferociously stomped on the ground, and a blood-red aura spread out. Zhao Fu planned to use the 2 types of supreme dragon blood to activate the dragon bone pillars. After the blood-colored aura surged into the dragon bone pillar, the dragon bone pillar erupted with even more dragon power. The pale white pillar of light suddenly grew several times larger, and the pale white light it emitted also became more intense. The golden dragon's light was suppressed by the pale white light, and the surroundings were gradually covered by the pale white light, causing the golden light to retreat. Facing this even more terrifying dragon power, Long Shenyan no longer wanted to take the initiative to attack. She had the massive golden dragon continue to flap its wings, and a massive golden energy spread out, covering the Dragon King's army. The pale white light was blocked by the golden energy barrier, and the Dragon King's soldiers within it were not affected at all. Seeing this, Zhao Fu controlled the dragon bone pillars. Boom! An enormous sound rang out as the pale white light turned into a formless wave of dragon force that pressed down on the gigantic golden energy barrier, causing it to tremble, as if it could not withstand this power. If the energy barrier protecting the Dragon Kingdom shattered, everyone's power would be suppressed. As such, they could not allow the golden barrier to shatter. Long Shenyan raised her hand and pushed upwards, using all her strength to move the Dragon Kingdom's fate. Countless Dragon Kingdom's fate continued to pour in, and the golden dragon immediately released even more powerful dragon power, causing the trembling barrier to become even more solid. As the defending side, the Dragon Kingdom could gather its providence here, which was a great advantage. Zhao Fu pressed his hands against the ground, and a wave of energy spread out, causing the ground to crack. The massive dragon bone pillars gradually left the ground and flew up, giving off terrifying power as they smashed towards the Dragon Kingdom. Long Shenyan's expression changed and she shouted, "Quickly attack that dragon bone pillar." If the dragon bone pillar smashed over with that terrifying power, it would create many large holes in the golden energy barrier. The soldiers would be weakened once they left the golden shield, so they took out the flying spirit stray bullets one by one. This was something that the Dragon Kingdom had obtained after destroying a major force, so they had a lot of them in reserve. Countless azure stray bullets shot towards the dragon bone pillars, and Qin's alchemy sacred beasts also shot out countless beams of light. Bang! Bang! Intense explosions continuously sounded out in the sky as the power turned into wild gales that blew out, causing the ground to crack and collapse. These incredibly terrifying shockwaves made it so that the dragon bone pillars flying towards the Dragon Kingdom could not get close. Some of the dragon bone pillars were affected, and more cracks appeared on them. As such, Zhao Fu had the many cracks on the dragon bone pillars explode, and the dragon bone shards smashed against the golden energy barrier. Some were blocked by the golden energy barrier, while others stabbed into the golden energy barrier. This greatly weakened the golden energy barrier, and the remaining dragon bone pillars quickly rushed over. Bang! 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 Massive sounds sounded out as the dragon bone pillars continuously smashed against the golden energy barrier, and it seemed that the energy barrier would not be able to last for much longer. Long Shenyan used all of her strength but was unable to stop it. She looked incredibly difficult and cold sweat covered her body. Yato called out, "Hurry and help His Majesty." After speaking, Yato raised her hands and pushed forwards, using her power to send a white wave of fate into the golden energy barrier. Hearing this, the others immediately sent their own fate into the golden energy barrier, causing it to become multicolored. With the help of countless people, the golden energy barrier successfully blocked the dragon bone pillars. The dragon bone pillars retreated, and seeing that the Dragon Kingdom's people had finally blocked the golden energy barrier, they let out a sigh of relief. At that moment, Zhao Fu flew into the sky and said disdainfully, "Did you think that it would end just like that?" Hearing this, everyone looked at Zhao Fu. The dragon bone pillars moved and formed a magic formation that floated in the sky. Zhao Fu raised a hand, and the magic formation gave off a massive wave of dragon power. Zhao Fu raised his hand and grabbed at the air. Boom! The magic formation gave off a massive gravitational force as a massive star image slowly descended from the sky, giving off a heaven-shaking dragon power. This star was not Zhao Fu's star but the card world's dragon star. Zhao Fu was using his own power to summon the image of dragon star through the dragon bone pillar. In the past, Zhao Fu would not have been able to summon a star from another world. However, Zhao Fu had obtained the Chaos Star's blessing and supreme power, and the world's laws no longer restricted him. This was why Zhao Fu was able to do this so easily. No one else had the ability to do this. It wasn't just the Dragon Kingdom soldiers who were shocked. Seeing the massive star image descend, Great Qin's side also looked incredibly shocked. This scene was simply too shocking. The massive star gave off terrifying dragon power as it descended, pressing down on the golden energy barrier. The golden dragon furiously roared and flapped its wings with all of its power, wanting to stop the star image. Bang! The energy barrier was unable to resist at all and directly collapsed. The dragon star image slowly disappeared, but the massive dragon power pressed down on the Dragon King soldiers. The Dragon King soldiers felt their bodies sink, and a large amount of their power was suppressed, causing them to enter a weakened state. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.